check. Mother goddamn. Shut up. I know. Shut up. I know. I couldn't find my gum this morning. And that's a problem considering how much I talk. I'm still looking around. Had it in my pocket earlier. I have no idea what happened this morning. So I grabbed an extra bottle of water, and hopefully we get through it. Shout out to my guy Bider here for this hat. Cam, if you're here, thank you very much. Cam's the one that made that intro music, and this is his username. And if you guys need some intro music, check out Bider's music. He does great stuff. He also made this song, which most of you don't know, but if you're an OG, you remember this.
He's trying to fuck OTP. She'll make him better than a cherry. He's trying to fuck OTP. He's trying to fuck OTP.
Lots of great stuff. So there we go. And then this is there a shirt you changed out of? No shirt. And then I also have on, you can't see it very well, but I have on my muted hoodie. If you were on TikTok or YouTube, you could see that. But we got a muted hoodie too. That's in our merch shop. You can get that. And ironic that I started the day muted with while wearing this hoodie. Yeah, thank you, Groovy Redhead. Yeah, very ironic. Look, I didn't intend to cover so much of the Epstein files today, but I'm starting to think this is going to be something that we have to cover for a while now. And so I'm just going to tell you in advance, I'm going to still try and cover politics as much as we can. The Epstein files it's political. Like it or not, it's political. It's a massive cover-up by our government that has spanned decades, multiple presidencies, including the one that we're in. So we're gonna cover some of that today, but I do want to get through the politics. So I've got an initial probably hours worth of stuff to cover, and then we'll get into the Epstein files. And just in advance, and maybe remind each other, because I always forget. Some of the stuff we read is troubling. Some of this stuff is going to trigger some memories for some of you. And as always, it's dark stuff, and I don't think everybody needs to be aware of it. And I don't think everybody needs to live through it. So if you find yourself in a bad spot when watching the show, leave. Please leave. Please don't stay here if this is making things worse for you. I'm going to try and cover it the best way I can, factually as much as we can, and try not to smear or bring up stuff that we don't need to. But the reality is, this is fucked. Should have heard Admir and Zeus's live. He's so embarrassing. Oh no, what did I? Hey, Miss Julie. Hey, what's up, Jen?
Hey. So I guess I haven't watched a whole lot of lives this morning, but I saw some different ones last night, or listened to some different ones last night, and the cope on the right is not going well.
What are they saying? I didn't even go in there at all. I did watch somebody last night. They were doing a good job, but it was somebody on the left.
It's a variety of different things where they want to relitigate whether or not the claims are valid or not. They don't necessarily care. Well, some do. There's a handful. Admir actually was on live yesterday, so I don't know what he did this morning. But he was more or less saying, why can't we call out that if this behavior was happening, that it's bad? So it's either like the two far extremes. Some are in agreement that it's bad, and some are trying to relitigate the whole thing. So
looks like nobody can share on TikTok. I'm going to change the name of the live real quick then, because it might be the name of the guy that we're talking about today.
There's hit and miss. There are some different. If you're on TikTok, we found some different. TikTok rolled out different types of gifts, so now we have 3 options to choose from on our gift goal, and we might have a gift gallery. So if you guys want to check some of that out, that would be dope. So that if Jay says some things that get us in trouble again, we could possibly
I think you
not
should just say
permanently banned.
when I do
True.
that. If is not if's
Yeah,
not really part of this.
when Jade misbehaves, but the account warning's gone after the ban, so that's good.
Oh, well, that's nice. Some people are saying they are able to share. I don't know if this is one of those things where you can leave TikTok and come back and it lets you, but it happened to
That
me.
and maybe double check if you can if your app has been updated or not. Sometimes that can have an effect too.
Okay. I actually had a hard time posting my own to the story this morning. It wasn't letting me do that. So, anyways, don't worry too much about that. Thank you guys for being here. I hope a lot of you have time off this week. I know if you have kids, your kids have time off. If you don't, God bless you forever, however you're figuring that out. But for everybody who's joining us, wherever you are, however you may be listening, thanks for making us part of your day. If you can, it would be lovely if you shared this out with your friends. I do think that a lot of people are going to cover what we're covering today in a really hyperbolic manner, and I'm going to try not to, but it's important information. We also have some other stuff. We're also throttled like crazy on TikTok. I'm aware of it. There's nothing we can do about it. In talking to our TikTok representative, they're just cracking down on anything that is not pro-Trump or pro-Israel with the new sale. I think that this is something that we'll likely have to deal with going forward for maybe forever. Who knows? But if you can share it, that's really our only shot here. We're not going to have, nothing's going to be pushed out into the algorithm. In fact, political stuff in general is not going to be pushed out to the algorithm. I can tell you that if I scroll through like my live section on TikTok last night, almost none of you that I follow that host lives, political lives, almost none of you show up when I scroll. I have to go find you. The only one that ever shows up is Dean and Parker. Nobody else ever shows up. It's literally just like live after live after live of 5 people and TikTok battles, which I've never engaged in. It's a pretty shitty algorithm. It's like, I don't want to. We're going to show you a bunch of battles, even though you've never engaged in that. So anyways, YouTube, kind of the same story. Everything's a little bit muted right now. I guess it makes sense. I don't know. But if you want to share this to your friends and family, that would be great. Never see the notification. Yep, I don't ever say it. Doesn't even notify me either. So there we go. Let's jump into it. Let's start here. This is my new favorite person, Batia. It's what is it? Batia Ungar Sargon. She works for News Nation, and I had this on the outline yesterday, and I didn't play it, but I just want to show you like the level of spin that exists out there in places that you wouldn't expect. Like you expect Fox, OAN, and Newsmax to have this level of spin. Does anybody know, by the way, is she related to the Sargon that's like he has a British accent, like an alt-right guy? I don't know, but this is gonna make you sick. I just want you guys. I'm trying to help everybody stay healthy this year and not snack, and this will take away your appetite.
The president gave a speech.
Yeah, of Akkad. That guy, Sargon of Akkad. I don't know if she's related to him.
The president gave a speech to the nation on Wednesday. He talked about all of his accomplishments this year, closing the border, bringing down the cost of drugs, and creating jobs. To me, the common theme of The president gave a speech to the nation on Wednesday. He talked about all of his accomplishments this year, closing the border, bringing down the cost of drugs, and creating jobs. To me, the common theme of it all is dignity. Dignity restored to the forgotten men and women of the heartland. That's what Trump's entire year has been about, from the economic policy to the immigration policy to the foreign policy. How does
restoring dignity to the heartland? That's what this has all been about. This motherfucker has done nothing but give handouts to his rich tech and oil oligarch friends. He decimated farming, and the audacity after his speech to put him in front of cornfields and say that he's restoring the dignity to the heart. Yes, she's dead serious. Dead serious.
Day laborers and landscapers bring dignity to the working class? Aren't they just doing jobs Americans won't do? Well, no. Contrary to the myth promulgated by the left?
No, first of all, this is not a myth promulgated by the left. This is something that Americans often say, but also nobody says that like 100% of jobs. No, I've never heard anybody serious say that 100% of jobs in any of these sectors were taken by people who are here illegally. I've never heard anybody say that. This is just pure, straight propaganda, fear mongering, and trying their best to spin Donald Trump as doing great things.
Won't do? Well, no. Contrary to the myth promulgated by the left, there isn't a single industry in America that's dominated by illegals. Not one has more than a 30% share of illegal labor. Migrants aren't doing jobs Americans won't do. They're doing jobs.
So wait, then they're not taking all of our jobs? This is a tricky one to keep straight here. Ooh, Batia. This is gonna be a hard one. Like you're selling, she's selling us a lie that nobody believes in. There's nobody that says 100% of these jobs are taken by people who are here illegally. Nobody says that. So she makes up a narrative. And this is basically what the entire right is doing. This is basically what Turning Point USA did all weekend, is they just make up a position that nobody on the left holds, and then they argue against that position. Yoga Story said, unfortunately, far too many people side with, enable, and cover up for abusers. It's sad and frustrating. This is a list of 1,000 plus perpetrators in my community alone. Oh, that was yesterday, actually. Sorry. Whoops.
Americans do and get paid much less for because their employers have a much cheaper choice if their American employees say no. Mass deportations tighten the labor market. They give working class Americans a fair shot at the American dream again in exchange for hard work.
So then why would unemployment go up? This is tricky. Did the Trump administration write this?
And the tariffs are accomplishing something very similar. Since Liberation Day, economists have promised that the tariffs would be passed on to consumers. But it's been 9 months, and that just hasn't happened.
The Fed chair, Jerome Powell, in announcing just the last 2 times that he announced a rate cut, he has said that the reason we're cutting rates is because tariffs are being passed along to consumers. If you go look at inflation, and if you break it down more simply than that, if you look at consumer prices since April, they're up. Thank you, David. What world does she live in? They're saying the opposite of truth, and nobody on News Nation, like, she has editors. Not one person, not one editor was like, hey, you may not want to say the opposite of what's true here.
Instead, in a massive redistribution of wealth, American corporations and China ate the tariffs, paying over $200 billion into the Treasury.
China? China paid $200 billion, part of the $200 billion. They paid $0 of that. This isn't Fox. This isn't OAN. This isn't Newsmax. This is the outlet that claims like they're in the middle. Her name is you'll see her. You're seeing her a lot now. More Batia Ungar Sargon. Look, she's owned by Israel and owned by the administration, and I can only imagine News Nation hired her just to do propaganda to appear balanced.
Less than a fifth of that was passed on to consumers, representing just 0.7% of the total consumer price index. It was President Trump, a Republican, who made American corporations pay a massive greedflation tax. Some of it went to pay for food stamps in October, while the rest has been steadily paying down our deficit to the tune of $600 billion. The tariffs also contributed.
I don't even know if this is true. Let's double check this. I keep hearing Hassett say this. Let's go to Perplexity here. Let's see, I don't know. Kevin Hassett doesn't ever cite his sources. Let's see if we've lowered deficit spending in 2025. By the way, also this would be still on the last budget, not Trump's budget, but is there a source for this anywhere? Around 40 billion. We're down 40 billion. Shocker that it's not 600 billion. This is from the CBO. Oh no, that was 2024. Oh no, this is 2025. Okay, so we can look here. Congressional Budget Office released its final monthly budget review for the fiscal year 2025, showing a $1.8 trillion budget deficit for the net year. The net effect of $5.2 trillion of revenue collections and $7 trillion in spending, estimated 5.9% GDP. The 2025 deficit is $8 billion lower than the $1.8 trillion deficit recorded. Yeah, so it's down $8 billion, $56 billion, down $56 billion from the projections. Where are we getting 600 billion? We know where they're getting this number from. Are they taking it from here? From like 2020? Are they using like a high benchmark, maybe 2021? I don't know where they're getting this number. Only 308 billion in higher revenue collections. Yeah, anybody? Any MAGA here in the chat want to bring that up? Like, tell us where this source is coming from? You can even see here. Look what they cited their source as. Kevin Hassett. This is their source. Just Kevin Hassett. No, they're telling you. Somebody from the administration said it. Therefore, it is.
To trillions of dollars of commitments from the Middle East to reshore manufacturing and build factories here in the U.S., some of which are already under construction. Tariffs got our goods access to markets in Japan and South Korea.
Those are under construction because of the Infrastructure Act. Those are under construction because of the Chips and Science Act. So you have people who have given commitments with no ability to force those commitments, and then bragging about something that was bipartisan legislation that Biden signed into law. Cool.
Korea and across the EU. Tariffs forced Mexico to police its side of the border, getting illegal crossings down to 0.
Mexico was already doing that. I don't know if you remember this when Trump claimed he struck these new deals with Mexico and Canada and that they were going to do enforcement. They were already doing it. The troops that Mexico, I think it was like 80,000, I don't remember what the number was, is what they said, we'll dedicate this to guarding the border. That was already a deal that they had struck under the Biden administration. This is pathetic.
And tariffs forced Pfizer to reshore manufacturing and give us most favored nation pricing, overturning the disgusting status quo in which we were paying 4 times what other rich countries paid for drugs developed with our taxpayer dollars. That is going to save seniors living on a fixed income thousands of dollars
Shut
a
up,
year.
D-Stow. Shut up, D-Stow. I'm just fact checking. You whiny little baby. I'm gonna mock the shit out of MAGA today. Shut up.
No, you're the one that's pathetic.
Dude, she's just lying. Everything she said here is a lie. Be tougher. Be smarter. MAGA, today, for this holiday season, Christmas season, whatever it might be, my wish for you is you fucking learn something this year. Just like one goddamn thing this year. Learn how to fact check, please. This isn't hard. It's not most favored nation. By the way, we can even get into this. Yes, we get charged 4 times more than all these other countries. Do we have the same pricing as them now? No, we do not. It's still more expensive. Why? Because we can't collectively bargain. And also, this most favored nation pricing, this is for Medicare or Medicaid, Medicare and the VA. This isn't even for, like, if you're not on some sort of government health insurance, this isn't for you. You didn't get any of this. So their countries, all of them collectively, have these lower prices. In our country, it's only the people that get government-provided health insurance, which goes to show that maybe the government should be negotiating on behalf of all of us. Maybe we should all be on the same plan like those other countries. Maybe we could bring our prices down by all collectively being on one plan.
That's socialism. I'm afraid of that word. We'll keep doing high prices.
This is what people will remember in 10 years. That their president told the entire global economic order that he doesn't work for Wall Street, he works for the American people.
D still comes in, throws one insult, gets a little pushback.
I'm tired of this. I'm leaving.
All right, bud. Thanks for the announcement telling us that you're leaving. Your president's a dipshit, and it's the fact that like it offends you that people bring that up might tell me that you have a little bit in common with your president. It's corporate greed and price hiking. The Dow is closing higher than it has. Yeah, it is corporate greed. Yeah, maybe we should not allow them to set our prices based on how high they want their stocks to go this year. That'd be cool. All right. I haven't shown this in a while. I made an attempt not to show these CNN panels too often anymore, but I just liked this one. This is Bakari Sellers, and he's going to talk to Scott Jennings, and he's going to do what we've been doing all week, where before we say something, we predict what they're going to say. Bakari Sellers is going to talk about the obvious cognitive decline of Donald Trump. And chat, what is Scott Jennings going to say? The only time I paid for healthcare was when Obama fined me. Cool. Cool story, bro.
I've managed to stay healthy or pay out of pocket.
Cool. We could have a better system than that. Yeah, he's going to say, what about Biden? Yeah. At this point, it's a magic 8-ball, except for like you get to choose the answer. We just know what the answer is going to be.
I love my panelists that are here on this holiday season, but nobody acknowledged the fact that Donald Trump's old. Like, he's extremely old, and he is burgeoning on senility, and we can see that. And the fact that we just went through a president who went through that, and Scott and Kristen, they will not.
Are you really going to try this today?
They are not going to say anything
After
without
Biden?
mentioning Joe Biden. Exactly.
He just did it.
Exactly.
He just did it. Just right then. He just did it. He's like, after what we just went through with Joe Biden and Scott, and he's not going to acknowledge this.
Are you kidding me? After what we just went through?
Yeah, that's what he just said. And then Scott does his Jim impression, and after he says anything, stares directly at the camera.
After
Without
Biden?
mentioning Joe Biden. Exactly.
Come on.
Exactly.
Come on, Bakari.
But this president is old.
Unbelievable.
And that's what we're seeing. It's not unbelievable. It is. I mean, he's talking about undergarments, panties. He's talking about, it's not a weave. That's not what we're seeing. We're seeing somebody's old uncle. I mean, let's just call it what it is. Yes. The American public saw Joe Biden get old and decrepit in the White House.
Well, we didn't see it for a while. He wasn't.
What they're seeing right now is Donald Trump doing the same thing. Let's
Yeah.
just admit, let's call it what it is.
Absolutely, he is old. I think there are questions about whether he's all there. I think that's a reasonable thing to ask, given what we've seen. But I will say, I think the big difference here politically from 2024, where he would give these rambling speeches that his base loved, is he has lost the command and control of his caucus of the Republican Party. We're seeing increasingly splits on key issues. They're divided on health care.
Yeah, Burger's Tasty. What are these new it looks to me, Burger's Tasty, like you saw the new economic numbers, the way that it's being spun by Republicans. You know that the Republicans right now are saying that the numbers projected, the new economic numbers were projected to be really bad, and they're only kind of bad. And you're counting that as a win. Bro, we covered those numbers. What, you're proud of 4.7% unemployment? You're proud of 2.9% inflation?
Well, the target was 3%, and we came in at 2.9%. Take that, libs.
It's higher. He hasn't cut inflation at all. How'd that happen? In fact, inflation was cut. Inflation was coming down, and you saw like the Biden policies bringing inflation down from 9%, and it got all the way down to 2.4% in April. And in April, what changed? Come on, Republicans. What did Donald Trump do in April when inflation was 2.4%? Do you know the answer to this? Come on. You can do this with us. You're welcome here, by the way. I'm enjoying your cope and I'm engaging with you. What happened in April, Republicans?
We did tariffs. We called Liberation Day.
And then what happened to inflation after Liberation Day? It went up. It went to 2.9. Good question. I don't take AIPAC money. Fuck Benjamin Netanyahu and fuck the Israeli government. Fuck the IDF, all those things, all those normal things. Maybe goodbye TikTok here. Yeah. So as soon as Trump did something, inflation went up.
But they said it was going to be 3%, and it's 2.9, so therefore you lose.
I'm not homosexual, Brent, but I do sometimes fuck your dad. Tell him I said what's up.
This question of Israel is absolutely ripping the new right, as Senator Langford was calling it, apart.
Next. Yeah.
And so, when you have lost control of your party, giving these rambling speeches that maybe leave some question as to whether you're totally in command, that is an issue that's going to keep compounding on itself.
This may be your Christmas wish, but it is not a reality. The president is the head of the Republican Party. He's never been stronger.
Yeah, but they said he's cognitively declined. So now that we've walked through the fact that he's struggling, he's lost control of the party narrative, which you saw with TPUSA. Like, they can't figure out if they're racist or not. Like, some Republicans are like, we don't want to be racist, and other Republicans are like, we got to be extra racist. He's not going to address his cognitive decline here.
Speeches that maybe leave some question as to whether you're totally in command. That is an issue that's going to keep compounding on itself.
This may be your Christmas wish, but it is not a reality. The president is the head of the Republican Party. He's never been stronger among Republicans than he is right now. And he's always had a broad...
he's fallen a little bit back with Republicans. Is that why he spent 6 months fighting his party on the Epstein files?
You guys have been desperate for 10 years to find the moment where Donald Trump is no longer going to be accepted by the... He is the leader of the Republican Party. He is going to continue to be the leader of the Republican Party.
You're in a cult. You're in a cult. That's what they're saying too. They're saying you will ignore everything and just keep saying he's so wonderful. That's Scott Jennings in the chat. Boy, I am happy to have you Republicans here today. I'm happy to watch you guys cope and seethe in the chat. You're acting like you never said anything about Obama or Joe Biden. I talked about Obama and Joe Biden. In fact, come back tomorrow. We're going to talk about some of the mistakes during the Obama administration. So I could give a fuck about any of these politicians. You're just mad because I'm going after yours right now. Your guy's in office. I'm not going to talk about Obama and Biden all day. That would be stupid. We're talking about the politics of today. And your guy won. And you guys won the House and you won the Senate. So if you don't like accountability, don't win. You know what I mean?
Why can't we just win and have nobody criticize us? Why does everybody have to look at things through a lens of numbers? Why can't you just love Donald Trump?
I'm happy to have you guys back today. It's good to have a break. Let me read some comments. Also, Sophia said, Dollar Train, enjoying my 2 weeks off work till January. Happy holidays, Jay and RTP fam. Congratulations, Asta Sophia, for living in a country that takes care of its citizens where you guys get paid time off. Guaranteed paid time off. Heaven forbid we do that in this country. That would be terrible. Why let people off work? Why not make them work all the time? That's way better. Danielle said, thanks for the win last night, Jay. 49ers. Bills clinch the playoffs for the 7th straight year. Let's fucking go. Go Bills and fuck Donald J. Trump. Yeah, that's a big win. The Niners beat a very bad Colts team, and it was way too close. But a win's a win. Dasha, a couple came in last night after the show, so I want to cover those. Dasha said, RTB caught show later. Thanks for all you do. Appreciate that. Ryan said, I can't click on that. It's a Primal Scream. Oh, I can't say that. I'll check out that song later. And also, this is one of my favorite bands, Primal Scream, Getting in Trouble for Telling the Truth. Oh, I do know that song. Check out Primal Scream. If you have a second. They're getting in trouble for talking about Donald Trump. That's what this country is now. Like, the worst thing you can do, there's two things you can do to Republicans that will make them very upset. All of them. One, criticize Donald Trump. They shit their pants. And two, if you ask them to act like Jesus, then they piss their pants. And then you've got a real soggy mess down there. If you point out that they don't act like Christians because they just love to be cruel and hurt people, that will upset them. And if you say anything bad about Donald Trump, that will upset them. Because Donald Trump has replaced Jesus. You haven't admitted it to yourselves yet. Donald Trump is what you worship now. Jesus is no longer what you worship. It's just kind of fun to wear the cross. You're a punk. I am a punk, Rich. I know. Look how mad. By the way, just a reminder to any of you Republicans, you are welcome to come up here and talk to me. If you look at the Venmo username up there, JenDub1, JenNDUBB1, that is also her Discord username, and she can bring you on, and you can sound just like this. Jen, can you give them an example of how this works? See, Jen's on Discord right now, and this is how she talks to me. Maybe.
Yep.
There you go.
And just can have conversations just like this.
This could be you. You could not be crying in the comments. You could be up here telling me why I'm wrong. Throwing out punk like an insult. Good point. Nothing wrong with being a punk. They turned out to be right. All right. What have we got? I love the way you master-sized the Republicans. I simply couldn't imagine, Jesus, camel toe Harris and tampon Timmy being in power. Now can you? Dude, learn to spell. What the fuck is this sentence structure, Robert? I love the way you master-sized the Republicans. I simply couldn't imagine camel toe Harris in tampon Timmy being in power. Now can you? Just curious. I know I won't get a response, but I had to ask. I don't know what the fuck you're saying, Robert. There's your response. What are you saying? That's MAGA for you, baby. We just put words together and call them sentences. That's why you guys all think Donald Trump makes sense. I think that like you just don't comprehend anything. So when he says buzzwords, you're like, I knew most of those words. That must have made a lot of sense. All right. Watch our Fox News, the best person on Fox News, Jessica Tarloff. Watch her blow the minds of her 5 co-hosts as they find out that when Trump gave that cute little speech where he offered a bonus to members of our military, watch them find out that it wasn't a bonus at all. In fact, they just took money from a program that they were supposed to get tax-free and made it now so they'll be taxed on it.
I'm interested, though, in Jessica and what you just said, because that was news to me.
Okay, so Defense One, I think, was the first to report it. This reporter, Thomas Novelli, I don't know. President Donald Trump's 1776 checks for more than 1 million troops announced Wednesday comes from congressionally allocated reconciliation funds intended to subsidize housing allowances for service members, a senior administration official confirmed.
So it's not from tariffs. Well, that kind of sucks.
So we're not taking the
You're
money.
taking the money from their housing and you're giving it
so
to
we're
them.
stealing the money from troops and then giving it back to troops.
Let's just say that if you're
Yeah, but when you give it back to them, now they have to pay taxes because their housing allowance is tax-free. But now that it's a bonus, they have to pay taxes on it. Hey, Kenny, suck my ass, dude. You're a joke. Your president's a joke. He just stole money from the military so that he could say that he was giving them a bonus, and you're upset with me, you fucking child. You absolute fucking child. Grow up, Republicans. Learn to criticize people in power. Learn to distrust the government, even your government, even the ones you voted for. Wherever courage comes from, whether you believe it comes from the balls, from the brain, from the ovaries, from your heart, wherever you believe courage comes from, fucking find some. Fucking find some. Because this bitch just stole money from the military and sold it to the American people as a bonus. And they are going to lose money. They now have to pay taxes on that money, and they don't have their housing allowance. So allowance. So that's $1,776 that was tax-free that was supposed to go to pay for their housing. Now it's a little bit less than that. And he did it just so that on national TV he could brag about giving a bonus, and he lied. He lied about giving a bonus to the military. We support the troops. Well, unless our choice is the troops or Donald Trump, then we choose Donald Trump, but we say that he is actually supporting the troops. It's making them more patriotic to allow them to pay taxes here. Think with your brains. Donald Trump is not perfect. Nobody in government is perfect. The government lies to you all the time. They've always lied to you. Think about that. Learn about that. Stop trusting dipshits.
It's not a bonus. It's money they were already getting.
There you go. Donald Trump lied to the American people at the expense of our military brothers and sisters so that he could, for like 2 days or a day until it was fact-checked, seem like he was given a bonus to the troops. It's not coming from tariff revenue because he can't do that, by the way. The president can't just take money from tariff revenue and give it to people. Same with, someone brought up the Doge check. He was never giving you a Doge check. You didn't get it, did you? Every time Donald Trump gets in trouble, he tells you dummies that he's sending you a check, and you never get it, and you fall for it every time. How many Nigerian princes are you currently in negotiations with right now? Raise your hand if you are currently in a relationship with a well-known celebrity that you're sending money to. We'll help you out. You can't keep believing the same lie over and over and over again. It's abuse. We will help you. Stop believing lies. Yes, Dems always lie, says Jeff. Good, Jeff. You're doing great. That's called cognitive dissonance, Jeff. Make sure none of this information enters your head. Just deflect it. No, the Dems are the bad ones. The Dems are the bad ones. Go back and watch our show from yesterday where we explained the bite model. But Jesus fucking Christ, are you guys the personification of the bite model? You get abused, and then you thank him for abusing you and get mad at other people for pointing out the abuse. What lies do I believe, Sherry? Tell me the lies we believe. I'll tell you, Sherry, if there's any lies that I believe, I'll tell you. Republicans in the chat, we'll give you a minute. What are the lies that we believe over here? Let's guess.
Men and women's sports. Russia, Russia, Russia.
That it? Where are we, Sherry? Come on back. I like that, Matt. Save the kids, unless Trump's the predator, in which case, fuck them kids. Chelsea said, roll tide. Fuck you, Chelsea. I love you, but you don't have to keep rubbing that in. You're a bully. Did we get anything, Sherry, or did Sherry take off? The Dems are anti-slavery. We are anti-slavery. I agree with that. Did you fuck that up, Kenny? Oh, now I thought, Kenny, first you said that we were anti-slavery. Now you say that we L9VE slavery? Oh, no, Kenny. This is going poorly. We stand for Islam. This is... Obamacare was a disaster. That's what? There it is. Thanks. G Dubster doesn't even wait. I know that he already said this one, but I'm going to repeat it. You believe lib boys are men. Yeah, good job, guys. You would love to debate me, Jeff. Oh, but you don't. Jeff, you just misspelled the word love, and you said we were anti-slavery and love it. I don't think you should be calling out people with half a brain. Love is a 4-letter word, and you put a fucking number in it. How'd you put a number in the word? Now we're ant-slavery? Ant-Slavit. Kenny says Dems are ant-Slavit. This is going great, guys. We'll just read your comments today. That'll be the whole show. Was that confusing to you? Obama ruined the healthcare system, and you just laughed like that. It's not confusing. It's stupid. The healthcare system is the problem with the healthcare system is private healthcare. And Obamacare, if I've shown this a million times, we can show it again if you need it. But until Donald Trump gutted Obamacare, it had leveled off the rise in prices. I can show you the chart if you want, but you're just saying this. How come when Trump gutted Obamacare, why did prices skyrocket right after that? Kenny, come on up with your full-ass brain. I'm big on Grindr. I am big on Grindr. Mostly with all of your dads. Conservative men. Well, I have a friend. I don't think he'll care. You can look him up. His name's Derek Cage. He is an adult film maker, star. I don't know if we say star. He does adult films. Derek told me a cool story one time that where he makes a substantial amount of his money is anytime a group of conservative men come together in one place and then Grindr blows up. I don't give a fuck about if you call, like, it does not offend me in the slightest for you to call me gay, by the way. Not even like a little bit. I love gay people. What's wrong with gay people? I don't care where you put your genitals. It doesn't bother me at all. .K. It's in your neighborhood, .K. You know what I'm talking about. General Conference is what Derek was talking about specifically. When the conservative Mormon men show up and descend to Salt Lake, Grindr blows up. RNC convention, Grindr blows up. What do you think just happened here with the Turning Point USA convention? Grindr blows up, which is great. Good for those closeted men getting a little freaky. Good for them. I'm happy for them. I'm glad they got it. And hopefully they were forced to pay for it because capitalism, free market, baby. All right. Chris Christie, Republican. Watch every Republican in the chat say rhino here real fast. We're just going to predict all their responses. I like Chris Christie after Trump gave his speech. This is a few days old, but it just never made it in the outline. Finally found a spot to put it. Torched Donald Trump. Here, watch for the rhino. They can't even stop it either. They're still going to say rhino, even though we've said it. They're still going to say it.
Start with you. Even by Trump standards, this was a erratic, chaotic week. Renaming the Kennedy Center, the stuff he did at the White House, the primetime speech. What's going on?
Well, first, it's so good to be here, John. And Merry Christmas to you too, Mr. President. Look, this is a pretty strange week. Just think about it. He sends out that disgraceful post on the murder of Rob Reiner and his wife, Michele. Then he puts his name on the building named after an assassinated president. Then he gives a frenetic national TV speech filled with inaccuracies and really sounded like he was yelling at the American people that they don't get how great he's done so far. And then he puts...
All right, Kenny, we'll show you I want to debate. I want to debate so bad that I'm going to mute you until you come up here to debate. I'm going to take away your freedom of speech until you're willing to do it behind a microphone. Somebody mute Kenny Panning for 5 minutes, please. Kenny, see that username, GenDub1? It's Discord. I want it so bad, Kenny. I want you to give it to me. But I know you're going to get distracted by the comments. Come up here and give it to me, Kenny. You have 5 minutes of mute, then you can come up here and debate me. And if you don't come up here and debate me, we'll just know that you're probably a coward.
These plaques up underneath the presidential pictures he's put on the colonnade, filled with things that you could tell just from reading them that he wrote them himself.
Read like Truth Social posts.
It did, and even figured out a way to get himself into the Andrew Jackson plaque, but as a martyr.
Right.
Worse than whatever happened to Andrew Jackson. Look, he does all this, John, in a week where 60% of the people in the country say the economy is no better under him than it was under Joe Biden. The war continues to rage on in Ukraine that he said he was going to...
You get him and Rex Ryan mixed up. That's actually fair. He does look like Rex Ryan, actually, Patrick.
Settled 24 hours. And Putin continues to manipulate him to deteriorate the 80-year NATO alliance. And twice now, in the past month, you've seen Republicans break from him on Capitol Hill on both the Epstein files and ACA subsidies to sign discharge petitions to repute both the speaker and the president. It's not a strange week, John. It's an awful week. And the president better wake up to the fact that going to Rocky Mount, North Carolina is not going to solve his problems, and that he better start solving the American people's problems, or our party is going to have a big problem.
You have a big problem. It's the collective IQ of your party is the big problem, and your inability to see obvious actors lying to you to grift and to get big corporate money. You have a problem that you don't recognize that all the people speaking to you are paid by corporate donors. They're paid by big oil. They're paid by big pharma. They're paid by big tech, and they're paid to keep you from thinking about anything other than them robbing the country blind. So they're going to have you focused on social issues, and they're going to have you focused on racism and bigotry, and they're going to say everybody else is the problem. Don't mind us just stealing all the money. It's no big deal. Who was that? Yeta said, "Go Georgia, dogs for the natty. Go dogs, go dogs, go dogs." I'm good with Georgia winning the natty. I don't care. That'll be all right with me. Just a reminder, guys, we are crowdfunded. And so anything you do, because we don't have corporate donors, nobody will corporate donate to us. So we have to ask our viewers for money. And you guys are so nice to do that. We are crowdfunded, though. Anything you do to help us knock out the gift goal so we can stay afloat here would be greatly appreciated. Thank you in advance for that. TikTok says our live visibility is restricted. So cool, Jags to the Super Bowl. That's right. I have it on good authority that the Jaguars have bought their tickets to Santa Clara, and they will be in the stands watching the Super Bowl as a team. It'll be a good bonding exercise. Johnny says we have paid vacation here, just need to get cancer. Jesus, that's dark, Johnny. Jesus. For anybody who doesn't know, Johnny is recovering currently from cancer treatment, so he can say that. Apply for disability and lose your job. Why do ducks have tail feathers to cover their butt quacks? God damn, Johnny, that's my kind of humor, but that's fucking dark. Alexandra said some drunk ran on stage at a Hannibal Buress comedy show in San Diego because he said Trump had 3 baby mamas. Guy got mad for that. Did he really? Guys, don't bother them if they think this is a grift. I don't fucking care. It doesn't matter. They can say whatever they want. You can't, like, there's not a bigger grifter than Donald Trump. You can't be a MAGA fan and call other people grifters. You just can't do it. You look stupid when you do that. You can call me a grifter. You can call it whatever you want. That's fine. But you can't say that and also be like, you know who's great? Donald Trump and Charlie Kirk. Turning Point USA isn't one big fucking grift. All those people on stage weren't paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to be there. They didn't get... Nicki Minaj is totally a thought leader here. By the way, just a reminder, if you are a sexual abuser, if you abuse children, and you don't like that the public is critical of you, might I suggest contacting Turning Point USA and seeing if you can come up on stage and talk about Jesus, where you had 2. You had Nicki Minaj, who's, I believe her cousin and her husband, both sexual abusers. I think isn't her husband in jail? And then you had Russell Brand, who was a liberal until he got caught abusing people, and then suddenly he was a conservative Christian, and you guys paid him. Your Charlie Kirk Turning Point USA paid him to come speak to you. Oh, he's an admitted one-eyed dollar. You can read the text messages of him apologizing to the girl that he sexually abused. You can read them yourself. He absolutely is, and he had to flee the UK. Why are all your heroes sexual abusers? Matt Gaetz. Andrew Tate just got his ass kicked. That was beautiful. Loved seeing that. Yeah. It's a protection racket. This thing that you guys believe in that you think is a movement is a protection racket for criminals. All Donald Trump has done this entire presidency is give handouts to his friends and pardon a bunch of criminals. Criminals that, like the pardon attorneys in the White House who aren't even partisan, they've all quit. And they're all speaking out. They're like, this is insane. These people are obviously guilty. And Trump just pardons them because he gets money from them. He's currently running a money laundering scheme called World Liberty Financial, where he is taking money that is being trafficked by criminals all over the world, some of the most notorious criminals, some of the most notoriously criminal governments, and he just launders their money for them. And he gets a little fee for it. And it's easy to do because Pam Bondi's not going to investigate him. Kash Patel's not going to investigate him. The SEC is not going to investigate. Nobody can investigate him. Because he put in a Supreme Court that ruled, while you're president, you can break the law. So he's just doing it. And you dumb motherfuckers, I swear to God, you are out here every day fighting for this man as if he's not robbing you blind and selling out your country. Private industry owns our military now. Private industry runs our military now. Private industry runs most of our government now. Virtually every single person that Trump has put in place in his administration works for a lobbyist or worked for a lobbyist. Oh, how can we make airlines more safe? I know, let's put in a lobbyist. And then you put in a lobbyist, Sean Duffy, and what does he immediately do? Fuck it. I know, Southwest, that you owed people like $300 million, but we'll just drop that case. And we'll no longer make you pay when you cancel flights. We won't help the consumers anymore. Oh, and by the way, we'll just go out and make a video about how the real problem is that people don't dress nicely. That's the real problem. It's not that you're being taken advantage of by Southwest Airlines. It's that you were wearing sweatpants. Your whole administration is one big criminal enterprise, and it's obvious. It's fucking obvious. Our whole economy now is 5 companies moving money around between each other and watching their stock price go up. That's why you guys are all feeling it and they're not. How is it that we're all feeling the effects of our current economy and the richest among us are getting richer? How's that happening? Explain that, please. If it's not rigged for them, can you explain it? Yeah, and they're not wearing shoes. That's what it is. It's flip-flops and sweatpants. Good Lord. For anybody who wants to come in and debate, you have to message Jen on Discord. If you see that V up in the top left corner, there's a name, Jen Dub1. You add her on Discord, and she can bring you up. She'll walk you through it. She'll send you DMs. She'll get you up here. Johnny, back in the hospital this week for Monday through Friday for chemo and spinal tap. I love you, Johnny. Keep in touch with us, would you? Did I miss any here? I don't think I missed any there. All right, moving on. Speaking of lobbyists, here's Sean Duffy again. Watch Sean Duffy put out this hype video. There's a lot of hype videos coming out of this administration. Every industry, kudos to them. Their editing's pretty good. Sean Duffy put this out. Cranberry was a super chat. And Johnny has special privileges. I read what Johnny says. If you're wondering what this is all the infrastructure projects he's taking credit for. Do we have an illegal immigrant in our community? Sam Hyde. Listen, my friend. We have a culture here. And you don't come in here and fuck with our culture. When you come to our culture, to our community, you assimilate. You speak our language, or you will be deported. So listen up, Kenny. If you're making the citizens mad here, we will deport you. No due process. We don't want you coming in here and poisoning the blood of our culture. So tone it down. Oh, it's Sam. Sorry, not Kenny. Sam. You listening, Sam Hyde? You will be deported. Beautiful stuff. Anyways, Sean Duffy tweeted out, America's building. There's now $1.5 billion going into infrastructure projects all around the USA. It's the golden age of transportation. That's awesome. Good job, Sean Duffy. Good job, Trump administration. See, we'll thank the Trump administration for doing that. And I even checked Grok. And yes, the $1.5 billion in build grants announced by USDOT is funded through the bipartisan infrastructure law signed by President Biden in 2021. Oh. You're taking credit for Joe Biden again. Oh. Whoops. That's tough, huh, guys? MTV really screwed our country. That's right. And if you're not a citizen of this community, you have no rights. Somehow Joe Biden, while sleeping through 4 years of his presidency and not knowing where he was able to do things so great that this administration is taking credit for it. I want to show you a podcast that I'm sure none of you watch because I watched the whole thing. And it's boring as shit for almost everybody, except for me, because I don't like any of these people. This is called the All In Podcast. It's this guy. He's the host. What is his name? He goes by J. Cal. It's Jason Calacanis. He is what did he start? He was a first stage investor in Uber, Robinhood. He runs something called Founder University, and this is his all-in podcast. Here we have, and I'm going to butcher this name, Shamath. I don't know. It's Patapaya or something like that. This is David Sachs, who is Trump's crypto czar. And I honestly don't know who this person is. So sorry about that. I didn't do enough research, but he doesn't talk, so it's okay. But this is David Sachs. This is Shamat. These are all billionaires or billionaire adjacent in the tech industry. And listen, this is one of the most honest discussions I've ever seen from billionaires. People like David Sachs, Elon, if you look at Peter Thiel, look at Alex Karp, they're constantly in spin mode. They're always telling you how great they are, how much they're saving the country, and how immigrants are hurting us. But this was a really, really honest conversation. And I don't know much about J-Cal here. Again, Jason Calacanis. But I'm going to applaud him for pushing back against David Sachs and not just standing for himself. You won't have to look at Peter Thiel. It's fine.
You know, the thing about polls is it's obviously just a snapshot in time, and it doesn't tell you what things are going to look like 6 months from now or a year from now. I think they're going to look very good.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he turns it around.
I think it's already been turned around. It just takes time to kick in.
Yeah, I mean,
so it's not turned around then, right? if it's not being turned around, it's right.
In the public's perception, it hasn't turned around, and inflation was supposed to go down, and it stayed.
It
high.
has.
No, it stayed at. It's still way above the 2%.
It's been 1.6% for the last 3 months.
Here's what he's citing. The near-term trajectory is what's really important if you look over the last 3 months, and then annualize it. Core inflation is only 1.6% now. Now, again, they're just citing Kevin Hassett. I have there's nothing that backs this up. I've looked. If you look at core inflation and annualize it, it's not 1.6%. I don't know where he's coming up with this number. Have you noticed how all the Republicans now are just citing Kevin Hassett? And this is the guy that they're going to make the Fed chair. He just makes shit up. So, by the way, Google it. Figure out where this came from. I dare any of you conservatives to cite a source here that's not Kevin Hassett.
No, it has not. It
That's
just
what
said,
Hassett's.
Not consumer point index, it's consumer price index, Chuko. But no, it's not. This number's incorrect. I can't find any. There's nowhere that is citing this number.
2.7.
No,
It's
that's
2.7.
that's the
This
that's
is the
the year.
problem, I think, with the administration, and you're part of it. Like, you guys cherry pick numbers, and it's not matching the numbers on the field. So when you cherry pick the
CPI
gas
is
number,
cherry picking. This is a CPI report.
the number.
Open the cover of the Wall Street
prediction was
Journal.
3.1.
2.7%. Hold on, 2.7%
2.7.
CPI. 2.6% core.
Now it's 2.6. See how he just said 2.6 core? Where's he getting this? This 1.6 is made up.
1.6% for last 3 months.
Okay.
What is hard to understand about this?
No.
Obviously, the last 3 months are going to tell you what the trajectory is.
Okay. The fact
You're
is,
looking for every excuse you can to basically downplay what is an awesome report, and just look at the stock market, which is ripping today, because this is way below expectations.
You're
the only one who's not happy about this news, Jake.
No. The country's not happy about it. I'm not. I don't have a horse in this race. I'm doing fantastic. I own equities. I'm doing better than I ever have in my life. I'm talking about how the bottom half of America perceives it. This is the blind spot of the Trump administration. You've proved my point by not addressing it. Let's go to the next subject.
No, I haven't. What?
No. It's
I guess your point is.
My point is the American people expected that inflation.
Oh, I just did the math. Okay, so I did it. So here's what he's saying. He's saying that the annualized consumer price index for the last 3 months, from September to November, was approximately 0.8%. And if you annualize that, it's 1.6%. So you can do the math with me. Pull out your calculators. Okay, we're going to do this math. So he's saying the last 3 months, it was 0.8%. You're going to take 0.8 and divide it by 3. And if you take 0.8 and you divide it by 3, I hope you have your calculators out, you get 0.26. 66666666667. Now, that's the monthly, right? And you times that by 12. Everybody with their calculator out, tell me what you got there. 6, 7. Fuck you, Swats. My daughter had a good joke the other day. She said, we were talking about 6, 7, and I was doing this, and she said, "What do you do with saggy boobies?" 6, 7. That's a great joke. 3.2. Thank you, Swiss Michael. Swing and a miss. It's 3.2. It's not 1.6, it's 3.2. Literally double what Sachs is talking about there. I hate all of you saying 6.7 right now. It's 3.2. He's lying. But I loved this from Kalkanis, because Kalkanis is saying, look, dude, you're pointing to the stock market. That's great for me. I'm doing great. I've never made more money in my life. And that's where most tech billionaires end. That's where the Trump administration ends. And that's where all these politicians end. Look at the stock market. And Kalkanis is saying, like, yeah, I get that, but everyday Americans aren't feeling this. This isn't benefiting everyday Americans.
Would go down and prices would go down. Prices have continued to go up.
The Fed has a 2% target. It's a little bit unrealistic to say that. What you want to you want to have a negative inflation rate?
Trump said prices will go down. They have not.
This is your argument?
That's what the American...
Yes, that would be the argument, David Sachs. If Trump says prices are going to go down, you would need deflation. You would have to have a negative rate. Yeah, sorry, that's what we said the whole time. We've been saying this ever since he started saying he was going to bring down prices, and we said, no, he's not going to bring down prices. He can't bring down prices. You would have to have deflation in order to do that. So we're taking Trump's words and presenting them, and they're like, really? Really? You're just going to take what he said and hold him accountable for that? Yeah. Yeah, we are. Because the dipshits that David Sachs doesn't have to deal with that come into this chat every day say this dumb shit, and they believe this dumb shit. They believed that Donald Trump was going to bring prices down. And now that prices aren't coming down, they're just talking about something else or pretending that prices are coming down. They're like, oh, well, look, egg prices. Oh, look, gas prices came down in the winter, like they always do. That's the point. The point is, David Sachs, is that the guy that you work for is a fucking liar. And when we hold him accountable for his lies, MAGA goes, oh, what? Now we just have to take his words and take them seriously? Yeah. How many times? That's twice we've caught Kevin Hassett in a lie today. And everybody in MAGA is just walking out and citing Kevin Hassett. Fox News is just citing him as the source. Your government, MAGA, your government is now saying we get to make shit up. We're just gonna make up numbers and you have to trust us. And you dumb motherfuckers do it. You just do it. Well, Kevin Hassett said 1.6. Well, it's not. It's 3.2 annualized. That's why. Democratic hoax. RTP. The Democrats made Kevin say. That's a good point. Kamala didn't say she was going to bring prices down. She said she was going to lower inflation. Now, maybe she said she was going to bring prices down. You can find a clip. She wouldn't either. It would be the same story.
People feel.
That's Sam Hyde. That's what I would say too, if I were you. And that's fine. If you only voted for deportations, cool. You're cruel. That's fine. You're getting what you wanted out of Trump with the deportations. Great. It's the most expensive way to possibly deport people. And it's terrorizing people. If you voted for that only, that's fine. You can check out of this argument because what we're talking about currently is the lies that Trump told and the lies that he's telling. And now he got caught lying. Trump lied, and now he's upset that people are fact checking.
Employment has gone up. They expect it to go down.
Larry, you can't do math. Why would
this
you care about
idea that
numbers?
we're in the golden age is not tracking with the bottom half of Americans. That's just facts, David. It's just facts. You have work to do. Trump has work to do.
You're saying that anything less than deflation, in your view, is
I did not say that. I keep telling you what I'm reporting in terms of facts. Then you tell me I said something different. I didn't say that. The American people are very disappointed in the Trump administration's first year when it comes to inflation and the economy.
I don't understand how the numbers could be any better. We just blew past expectations here. 2.7% versus 3%.
Yeah.
They blew past expectations of a bad report, and the report came in slightly less bad. See what they're doing here? If I predicted that when you went outside today, you were going to lose 4 limbs, both legs and both arms, and you came back missing 2 legs and 1 arm and said, see, it was fine that I went outside. I only lost 3 limbs. You motherfuckers said 4. Success. That's what he's saying there. Target inflation is 2%. It's at 2.7 is what he's claiming. The core inflation, like year over year, it's 2.9. But I don't know even where they're getting the 2.7 number. Maybe year over year changed to 2.7. It's still 0.7 too high. but it's just a little bit worse than or a little bit better than projected. That's not a win. Tis but a flesh wound. When a history of prices come down, they never do. Good point, Rich. So don't believe politicians who say they're going to bring prices down, because they can't. Our economy is built to make prices go up. And this is really the point. We have an economy. I don't like how our economy is structured, but it is what it is, and we're not going to get away from that. We need inflation to go up around 2% every single year. And if that is stable, if inflation stays stable at 2%, then we can watch the economic indicators with it. So if inflation's at 2% and wages are growing at 0.5%, we've got to adjust wages. But we need a steady level of inflation so that we can project into the future. The real problem with this administration is it's, again, almost impossible to predict. And we've went now since April. It's been nothing but bad reports since April. And now the one report you have that's not a good report, it's just not quite as bad as you thought. Now you're saying success. This isn't sustainable. And it's not because if inflation was 6% a year, but everything else was rising at 6%, who the fuck cares? Right? It's not about the number of the inflation rises. It's about, does everything else keep up? And the middle class is being left behind. Mute the person who said, Mr. McLibtard, you're muted for 5 minutes for being stupid. I'm being very specific. I'm using data, and you said orange man bad. If this isn't your country, actually, you got to go. Somebody deport Mr. McLibtard. You're too stupid to be here. I don't mean that disrespectfully. I just think that there are other places you could be right now with dumb people. This is going to make more sense to you. I would recommend Schoolhouse Rock would be a good place to start. Sesame Street might be all right for you, but this is adults only, and you got to go.
I don't know whose expectations. I don't know whose pulse you think you have the finger of, but the economists who put together these expectations.
Yeah.
We're expecting 3%.
Pull up the chart here one more time for me. Just pull up the chart for me so I can just explain that this isn't bias on my part. I'm just putting the fact on the field.
Of course it is
not. These are numbers that you can look at and see that Trump's two worst categories right now are the economy and inflation. The American people thought he would do better.
These are snapshots in time, and they're going to be completely different.
Snapshots of his whole fucking presidency. He's telling this guy, David Sachs, Trump's crypto czar, is telling him that what he's saying about Trump losing the support of the American people on all of these issues is wrong. And he's saying, yeah, it's just a snapshot in time. Yeah, it starts in February, end of January. When did Trump take over? End of January. Yes, this is a snapshot of his entire time as president. And his numbers on immigration, on trade, on the economy, and inflation are all down. This is why we call it a cult. You can be presented with facts, and then you say, I don't trust the facts.
Next year.
Time from February goes down. That's the snapshot time. Every month, you have 12 months there to look at.
Let me explain. I don't know what's so hard about it. This is a really partisan point that you're making. You're basically saying,
I'm not partisan.
This isn't updated polling average of Donald Trump's net approval rating on immigration, the economy, trade, and inflation, accounting for each poll's quality, recency, sample size, and partisan lean. They have already factored out partisanship here. This isn't a partisan talking point. If you could read David Sachs, you would see that. The problem with David Sachs is he and his billionaire friends and Donald Trump and this entire fucking cabinet live in a different reality than the rest of us. They are getting filthy fucking rich right now. So to them, it doesn't seem like things are going poorly. There's nobody in this administration that represents you or us. It's all a bunch of billionaires and lobbyists, and they're all allowed to trade. They're all allowed to run scams. They're all getting filthy fucking rich right now. So yeah, I'm not surprised that a bunch of selfish assholes that you voted in aren't thinking about you and think everything's going well when it's not going well. Yeah, David Sachs, you're filthy rich. Everybody on this panel has gotten filthy fucking rich. And kudos to the host here, and then Chamath, and whoever this guy is, for not jumping in with David Sachs and saying, well, if we're doing great, everyone's doing great. Because we're not. Mental health. And by the way, for all MAGA in here, let me make something really clear here. I don't give a fuck about Democrats. I don't think Democrats do a good job. I don't think Democrats did a good job last time they were in power. I think they are slightly better than Republicans, and only slightly. Don't dismiss this and say, what about the Democrats? That's the fucking problem with our country, is you won't engage in facts because you're on a team. This is a team sport for you. We got to, like, collectively as Americans, we have to grow the fuck up. I get you, mental health. I might be overreacting reacting to what you're saying. I apologize if I am. It's a broader point. We have to fix this. Democrats aren't going to fix it. Republicans aren't going to fix it. It's us. We have to force our politicians to pay attention to us and to put us first. And if you are standing by cheerleading Donald Trump right now, you're not doing your part. That's all I'm saying. Good enough, mental health. I overreact all the time. You'll get used to it. But that's the point here. I don't care. I would vote for Republicans tomorrow if Republicans were like, we need to fix healthcare. We need to have a single-payer healthcare system. We need to tax the rich. We need to broaden the middle class. If a rich person wants tax breaks, the only way they get tax breaks is if they're reinvesting into their company. And if they're, meaning wages, meaning growth, not meaning they buy a private jet. That's not a reinvestment, not stock buybacks, not buying real estate, not buying houses. Rich people, if they're going to get tax breaks, it should be because they're investing in their workers. That shouldn't be partisan. That shouldn't be, it shouldn't even, I don't even know how people would argue against that. That's all I'm saying. For the record, for anybody who's just seeing me, I'm not a Democrat. I don't like Democrats. I'm on the left. I think that you and I probably disagree on a lot of things, but if you want to say that Nancy Pelosi has gotten absolutely rich by trading off insider information, I'd agree with you. If you want to say that Chuck Schumer talks a big game but gets nothing done, and he talks about being for the working class and then he doesn't do a goddamn thing for the working class, I'm with you. I agree with you. If you want to say Hakeem Jeffries is toothless and gets nothing done, great. I agree with you. They suck too. We have to start looking at the politicians who do what's best for the American people. And the only way I really think we can fix this is we have to stop viewing our government as the people who set the culture. Don't vote for people based on their views on the family. We don't need to know how they feel about the family. We don't need to know about which God they worship or if they worship a God at all. It's not important. What's important is they don't attack your right to hold your beliefs, to worship how you want to worship or not worship, to protect your speech. But most importantly, we just need them to legislate. We have been completely destroyed by these social wars. It's our job as citizens to dictate like what's acceptable and isn't in our society. It's the government's job to write laws. But we spend 90% of our time playing clips of government officials. And if you go back and watch my shows, I think I'm going to be guilty of this when you go back and look at it. You're going to look at me like focusing too much on, what Marjorie Taylor Greene said. But we all need to be better than this. We've got to ask these people to do something for us. And go pay attention to the people who are making the most money in politics right now, either the politicians or the commentators. What are they talking about? They're trying to divide you about social issues.
The U.S. economy is like a giant super tanker.
I'm independent. I'm not partisan.
Can I finish my point?
Sure you can.
I mean, you must know this, and I think you're pretending not to. The U.S. economy is like a giant super tanker. It takes time to turn it around. It takes time to implement your economic agenda. It took the president the first 6 months of the administration to implement the Big Beautiful Bill, which is his economic program. But it doesn't even go into effect until January 1st.
So explain then how tax cuts for the wealthy are going to turn this around. This is where I and Republicans are going to disagree. But I have the data's on my side here. Leading from the front, giving rich people more money and freeing up what you call capital doesn't drive wealth equality. It doesn't make things better. There's a history in this country that you can look at. There's 30 plus years of data now. 33 years of data. 53 years of data. 43, 82. No, 43 years of data. Almost 50. That we can look at. What happened when we cut taxes for the richest among us? Did wealth inequality stay the same? Did it get better or did it get worse? It got significantly worse. So don't listen to the people who are filthy fucking rich, who are saying, "Oh, we need more. People like me need more money, and then eventually the economy will turn around." Nah, it doesn't work. We have almost 50 years of data on this. You can see it too. Like, we can just look at wealth inequality by year. I really should save this damn chart. Put that over there. I think it's this one. Oh no, that's it. Wait, hold on. Let's give me. There we go. Is it this one? Yeah. So since the 60s, you can even see here. Here is it this one? I don't want to do it by separated with race and ethnicity. It's home ownership, liquid retirement, student debt. Okay, I think is it the top one? There we go. Distribution of family income. You can see that, like, this was the gap in the 60s. We get to 1982, where the 90th percentile, their average income was 123,000, 50th percentile, 54,000, the 10th percentile was 13,000. And you could see, like, a pretty consistent gap here. Like, you were seeing a little bit of raising for the top 90th percentile. You can see that it was accelerating a little bit, came back to normal. And this is largely what we saw for most of this country's history. These folks up here were paying between 70 and 90% top marginal rate. Then in 1982, we cut their taxes. 83, it went into effect, and we've just seen this. We've just seen it massively explode. And if you take just the top 1%, it gets even worse. It doesn't work. Taxing the rich less doesn't work. We have the data on that. So stop listening to this. Oh, did I close? Oh, I didn't. Stop listening to the rich people who are like, I need more money, and we'll totally turn it around.
So the tax cuts have not gone into effect. The inflation reductions have happened. We've gone from 9% under Biden to now 2.6%.
That's so dirty that they all do this. Also, don't believe this. Why do they keep citing 9%? They cite 9% because then it makes their 2.9% look good. When Trump took over, it was 2.9%. We can't give Trump credit for it being at 2.9% when he came in and then cite 9%. We're going to give all that inflation reduction that happened. By the way, the whole world had inflation except for one country, which was Japan. The whole world had inflation due to COVID. We blame Joe Biden. This is such a dirty talking point they use.
Or 1.6% in the last 3 months. I don't know what more you could want. Interest rates have come down. They're projected to come down even more because inflation's coming down. This is, again...
No, interest rates are coming down because inflation's going up. Jerome Powell specifically said that the reason interest rates are coming down is because inflation is going up and unemployment is going up. Interest rates come down not when things are going well. Certainly David Sachs knows this. You drop these rates when things aren't going well. You raise the rates when things are going well. He knows this.
A huge ship that's in the process of turning around. And I predict that by next year, the numbers are going to be even better. You know, the thing.
Well, they're not good now. So even better would be great. Any better would be great. One more clip from this. Shit, did I close out the... I didn't. All right. Wait. I thought I had one more here. Oh yeah, sorry. I skipped. I need to go to number 10. Who is doing this? Kim. I'm going to jump to number 10 here. Chamath now jumps in. And listen, I don't know much about Chamath. I've seen him say some things I don't like. I don't like his projections with AI. But you now have even the billionaires saying this isn't going to work. Now, he has a different solution. He thinks that all of these billionaires just need to be talked into doing the right thing. I don't think they're going to do the right thing. But even they know that they have to reinvest. They have to trickle this money down. I don't think they're going to do it, which is why I think the government needs to force them to do it by taxing them higher unless they're going to trickle it down. That's the only way they should get tax breaks. is if they're reinvesting in their company and it's going to their employees. But here's Shamath.
Perception issue in AI. We have a handful of companies. All the PR that you see from those handful of companies is a bunch of circular deal making, a bunch of capital that flows from one to the other. It causes these stocks to go up, of which a small percentage of people benefit. And at the tail end of it, it's accompanied by a completely different set of articles that everybody also reads about this sort of Damocles that's about to fall on their head, whether it's electricity prices or whether it's their jobs or whether it's the jobs of their children or the quality of their education. So we have a big perception problem. So the question at hand is, how do we fix it? How do we get back to the place where a video talking about stopping all progress would seem as laughable as it should be? And I think you can go back to the Gilded Age and you can ask the question, how did the industrialist leaders of that era respond through that 1880 to 1920 age of industrialization?
This is somebody who's done a little bit of homework. We disagree on, he's asking for people to do the right thing. I don't think they're going to. But this is the biggest disparity of wealth that we've had since the Gilded Age. You can go watch the Gilded Age. Like you had basically two classes of people during the Gilded Age. You had the rich and you had the poor. And we're getting close to that. He's done his homework at least. He knows what happened and how we got out of the Gilded Age.
When you had all of this technological upheaval accompanied by a handful of people with incredible success, right? Andrew Carnegie, John D. Rockefeller, Henry Ford. What did they do? And I think the lesson we can borrow from them is we now need to be on the forward foot as an industry. Enough of the...
Cosmos, you need to check Trump's wealth. He has made more money in this administration than he's made his entire life. Donald Trump has made about $4 billion in this administration. He didn't give his money away. He gave his salary away. And there's no evidence that he's even still doing that. So try again.
Stupid haircuts, dumb watches, ugly clothes, ostentatious displays of wealth. We've all done it. I've been guilty of it. It has to stop. Absolutely stop. And instead, we need to start to use a percentage of the balance sheets of these companies in order to benefit as many Americans as possible. That is the absolute minimum. Andrew Carnegie built 2,500 libraries. The idea was, as he built the railroads,
Real quick, Cosmos, but he did that so that you would say shit like this. He did that so that you would think he was not profiting from the presidency. The coin he made, Cosmos, the two crypto coins, the two pump and dumps that he made, that's against the law. There are people sitting in jail right now for doing exactly what he did. And then he made a stable coin, and he's using it to launder money. He's allowing criminals to launder money through his cryptocurrency, and he makes a fee off of that. And he's made hundreds of millions of dollars, and the people that are supposed to regulate that, he's in charge of, and he says, don't regulate. Don't even look at it. So he's created a money laundering system with no oversight, and he's getting filthy fucking rich. Because this is no longer there's no longer a separation between justice and the president. They're protecting him. No, don't change subjects, Cosmo. You have to stay on topic with what I say. You have to answer what I say or I'm deporting you.
Going to scale GDP. You're going to scale education and knowledge. Those libraries are artifacts that allowed people to feel a dividend from that industrial revolution.
If it was against the law, it wouldn't have happened? Cosmo, do you know how laws... Okay, if you break the law, Cosmos, what happens? Like if I run a red light, what happens? Is that against the law? Yes. How do I get caught? Maybe there's a camera. Maybe a police officer saw it. What if the police officer didn't see it? What if there's no camera? Well, then I'm going to get away with it. So it happened. What if the police officer does see it and he says, I don't care? What if it's on camera and they just say, I don't care? Then it still happened and there's no repercussions. I know you're not that dumb, Cosmos. I know that you're not that dumb. I know that you're not too stupid to think that because Trump didn't get in trouble, that it wasn't against the law. I know you're better than that. He's a genius? And no, he's not. He's a criminal. He didn't even make the coin. Somebody just told him, hey, if we do this, you'll make a bunch of money. And he's like, okay. All right, Cosmos, we have to deport you. The problem is that it appears that somebody has been sending their criminals into our community, Cosmos. So we're going to have to deport you for 5 minutes. You're going to be muted for 5 minutes and you can come back. But when you come back, come the right way. And you must assimilate. And you have to use your brain. And you can't call Donald Trump a genius for being a criminal. Otherwise, we know you're a criminal enabler, and then we have to deport you out of our country.
John D. Rockefeller took all of his wealth and invested in institutions and universities. Henry Ford specifically focused on wages. We need to self-organize better, and we need to be more on the forward foot. We need to start doing things that are practically measurable by tens of millions of American citizens. And it starts to beat back the perception problem that we have. Because Sachs pointed out last week, the data does not support the misperception. But the problem is, and Sachs and I were talking about this last week, the misperception.
I saw it. Trump did talk about this yesterday, but I just want to again point out that like what they're doing, what Trump's doing, is they're doing messaging. They're doing spin. He just said, like, let me go back 20 seconds. This isn't about like doing the right thing. It's about maintaining their role as the oligarchs. He says it right here.
And Sachs and I were talking about this last week. The misperception is gaining steam. And so I think we need to use these tools that we have to provide some more practical benefits that every man, woman, and child can feel. Otherwise,
yeah, he's calling it a misperception, but he's saying we have to send some of this money down. I don't know why it's a misperception. And now Trump's begging him too, because Trump's seeing these same numbers that they showed Sachs. There's a problem here. They all recognize it, and they're saying we better give some of this money back, or else the people are going to revolt.
this thing is going to build, and you'll see crazier and crazier versions of this Bernie Sanders video.
Yeah, exactly. Billionaires can't dodge bricks. Yeah, otherwise they will come for our heads. This is them. This is fear from them. It's fear. Yeah, 3 billion in 11 months. That's an estimate. It's between 3 and 5 billion, the estimates I've seen, so I always say 4. But yeah, 3 billion is also an estimate. It's billions. Trump has made billions since he's been in office. Billions. And everything in your life has gotten more expensive. And there's no relief in sight for you. I know that you guys want to keep believing in Donald Trump and this administration, but how much longer do you have? How much longer can you hold on? I doubt it. I doubt it's a lot longer. All right. Let's talk about this. Scott Bessent now again. Just let me see if I can find this video. Actually, I need to do an announcement, and I'll do Bessent's video here. Let me read some comments. Joel, actually, I think Jen got all these. Joel, thank you for the donation. James said Christmas greeting RTP and crew. And Carrie, thank you. Carrie has knocked out our entire gift goal. So W Carrie in the chat for knocking out the entire gift goal and a little bit more. And I'm going to do something a little bit different now. Again, we've made the money we need to pay our bills. So you are free to not donate. Any dollar that comes in now, what time is it? And it's 11:05. So we'll be done at about 1:30 or 2. Any dollar that comes in from now until the end of the live goes directly to Jen. I won't get a piece of that. Jen has done a lot of work this year. She's behind the scenes doing stuff that nobody sees. And so if you want to thank Jen specifically, every dollar that comes in for the rest of the live, we've about 2 hours, is going to go directly to Jen. No matter which way you send it, that's going to go. In fact, well, let me say this. I can't separate it if it's coming in as a super chat, but if it's coming in any of the other payment apps, that'll go directly to Jen. Otherwise, the super chat stuff, we don't get a detailed breakdown of that from YouTube, so there's no way for me to even track that. So anything else will go directly to Jen as a Merry Christmas. And if not, enjoy it. Enjoy being here. All right, here's Scott Bessent. And again, I want to just point out that Donald Trump is currently laundering money for criminals. Okay? I want you to think about that when Scott Bessent makes this announcement.
At President Trump's direction, the Treasury Department is utilizing all tools to stop terrorist cartels, drug smugglers, and human traffickers. In line with that effort, I'm announcing a new data-driven border operation to help root out potential cartel-related money laundering from the U.S. financial system. Treasury's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, known as FinCEN, is targeting over 100 money service businesses along the southwest border. Specifically, FinCEN is issuing 6 notices of investigation, dozens of examination referrals to the IRS, and over 50 compliance outreach letters. These businesses, which provide financial services outside of a formal bank, face elevated exposure to illicit activity, including money laundering related to drug smuggling and human trafficking. Thanks to Treasury's push for technology modernization, we are now able to implement data-driven approaches to identify potential bad actors. And when malicious activity is identified, make no mistake, we can and will take action to keep Americans safe. President Trump has made clear his commitment to securing our border, stopping the flow of deadly fentanyl, and eliminating Mexico-based drug cartels to protect Americans. Treasury will continue to use, expand advanced technology and every resource at its disposal to combat money laundering and make America safe again.
In adverb, he has more time on his hands now. He's not farming soybeans. For the record, this is good. I like this. I like that they're doing this. I like that they're cracking down on money laundering. It's just ironic that it's exactly what Trump is doing, and they're letting him do it. And by the way, for anybody who says like there's no evidence of this, we can go back and pull the video from, I don't know, I'd have to pull it probably tomorrow, and maybe I can bring that back up. But when I say Trump is money laundering, and you say that he's not, I want you just to, for 1 second, to understand what World Liberty Financial is. It is called a stable coin. And Donald Trump has taken billions of dollars into his stable coin. And every time somebody buys one of Donald Trump's coin, he gets a percentage of the fee. I don't remember, or he gets 70% of the fee, which I think is like 3%. So if you put in $1 billion, Trump gets 3% of that. They don't vet where that money comes from. We have no transparency on where that money comes from. We know that the Saudis are funneling money in there because they've announced it publicly. Were the Saudis not the same people who funded 9/11? What about the Qataris? Have they funded any terrorism? Do they work with known drug cartels? Are people using cryptocurrency as a way to avoid being caught? Transferring money and laundering money. Trump disbanded the crypto scam. I don't remember what they're called. Like the crypto fraud department. They don't even do anything anymore. He's shut them down. They're not investigating crypto crimes. That's the thing. Like we have all this transparency built in. We have like election integrity monitoring. We have disclosures. Trump isn't disclosing any of this money. We have no record of what money is coming in and what money is going out. Yeah, I do. Yeah, that is the argument with crypto. Cryptocurrency has to be regulated. If it's not, it's going to be used as a way to funnel money. Poor CoffeeZilla. Yeah, CoffeeZilla. I should have played that video. Maybe we'll play that video today. Coffee's getting pissed. CoffeeZilla is an investigative journalist who has literally like cracked hundreds of cases and gotten people thrown in jail for the same crypto grifts, crimes that Trump is committing right now. But they don't investigate it anymore. In fact, a lot of these people who got busted, is it Justin's son or it's CZ, who was put in jail for money laundering. And Trump pardoned him after he took the money from Binance and dumped it into World Liberty Financial. And Trump made a couple $100 million. And then CZ got a pardon. And when Trump was asked about CZ, he's like, I don't even really know who that guy is. I don't really know. But I got a bunch of money from him. Yeah, $3 billion. That should be an emoluments violation. We don't live in the same reality, Republicans. You can't be the same people who spent years talking to us about the Biden crime family only for you to turn the other way now that it's Trump. No, it doesn't mean he doesn't know him personally. He said, I don't know anything about him. You want me to play the clip? He didn't say I don't know him personally. God damn, you guys are so fucking obsessed with defending Donald Trump that you just lie. Said I don't know anything about him. I'm looking forward to this apology after I play this clip.
Shortened the sentences of more than 1,600 people. The latest pardon was for a cryptocurrency tycoon who is known as CZ.
How do I know? I'm showing you how I know the details. I'm showing you the details. Watch. This is going to be a pardon for CZ who launders money, and all he had to do was buy $2 billion worth of World Liberty Financial.
The company CZ founded, Binance, helped boost the profile of the Trump family's crypto firm, World Liberty Financial. He pled guilty in 2023 to violating anti-money laundering laws.
Right.
The government at the time said that CZ had caused significant harm to U.S. national security, essentially by allowing terrorist groups like Hamas to move millions of dollars around. Why did you pardon him?
Okay, are you ready? I don't know who he is. I know he got a 4-month sentence or something like that, and I heard it was a Biden witch hunt.
In 2020.
Doesn't know anything about it. He just heard something. That's a good enough excuse for you guys to allow him to take billions and make hundreds of millions off this guy? That's enough for you? Only in a cult would you accept that answer.
5, his crypto exchange Binance helped facilitate a $2 billion.
Nobody's saying that crypto isn't logged. I'm saying that we're not investigating it, Neil. It doesn't matter. It is logged. That's how we know this money is moving back and forth. Now, it's also tied to wallets, and you know as well as I do that you can't always tell who owns these wallets. It doesn't say their name or their social security number, but Trump's administration isn't investigating it.
Dollar purchase of World Liberty Financial's stablecoin. And then you pardoned CZ. How do you address the appearance of pay for play?
Well, here's the thing. I know nothing about it because I'm too busy doing the other.
But you
I can
got a
only
pardon.
tell you that.
But you got a
No,
pardon.
I can only tell you this. My sons are into it. I'm glad they are because it's probably a great industry, crypto. I think it's good. You know, they're running a business. They're not in government.
Because you were.
Yeah. He just got paid. That's the answer. He's a dumb guy. He got paid. His kids said do it. He got paid. None of you care. All right. I want to get fuck, it's 11:15. I'll cruise through the rest of this. I want to show you this. This is a hedge fund manager from Bridgewater Associates. His name's Ray Dalio. And he's now even the hedge funds now are saying what we've been saying for 6 months. It's a bubble. AI is a scam. It's a Ponzi scheme. Not the technology AI, the technology companies. It's basically these 5 companies that are just transferring money to each other, and it looks like they're bringing in money, but it's just their own money. They're just recycling it to each other, and you're watching their stock price go up and up and up and up and up, and they don't make any money. I think we checked the other day that Nvidia's profits were like 11 billion, and their market cap's 4 trillion. That makes no fucking sense. And now these people whose job it is to invest money are saying it's a bubble and it's like it's about to pop.
In order to get money, you have to sell wealth in order to get cash to get the money to buy things. And so when that happens, bubbles burst. So bubble bursting means, let's say, a tightening of monetary policy is classic, but also something like wealth taxes can happen. For example, think about wealth taxes forcing sales of assets that you have to.
And you're right. By the way, there's a proposal for a wealth tax in California right now.
Yeah, so state and national, right? State and national. I'm just trying to describe the mechanics of a bubble.
But you said we're at 80%.
Yes, I have a bubble indicator that goes back to 1900. And it just makes it
a market cap. One Love Infinity. It's like the total valuation of their company. It's based on the amount of investment into their company and their stock price, right? So what is Nvidia's? You're going to take Nvidia stock price, and it's going to be their total number of shares. Their stock price is 457 trillion, excuse me. And their Stock price is 188.24 as of today. So you're going to take that times the number of shares that they have. So whatever that math winds up being, 188 times their total number of shares, and that gets your market cap. So they're saying that the company is worth $4.57 trillion, but they bring in $11 billion a year. So that did we figure out what the multiple on that was? I think we figured it out the other day. Does anybody remember what the multiple is? There, if you watch, like, the best way to explain this, if you ever watch Shark Tank and you see somebody come in and they say, I want $300,000 for 20% of my company, they're just going to do the math. And they're going to say, okay, at $300,000 for 20% of the company, you're going to take $300,000, you're going to times it by 5. And you say your company's worth $1.5 million. Did I do that math right? 3 times? Yeah, $1.5 million. And then the sharks are going to go, okay, how much did you do in revenue last year? And they say $80,000. And the shark's like, well, you're valuing it at $1.5 million. You only did $80,000 in revenue. You're giving yourself, a 15x multiple. There's no way that, like, we see your growth matching that 15x multiple. What they're trying to say is that this $11 billion at some point is going to equal out that $4.5 trillion, that at some point they're going to be worth that much because that's what they're doing in revenue. Or at least, like, close to that. Maybe you have 2x multiple. But I don't remember what we did the multiple of. It's a massive multiple. It was 187 billion. I thought it was 11 billion. Am I mixing up two companies? Am I mixing up OpenAI's revenue? Oh yeah, 187 billion. Thank you, Roy Big Balls. I think I was mixing up OpenAI. I think OpenAI's was 11 billion. Thank you. Okay, so whatever that valuation is, so take 187 billion into 4.57 trillion. What's that multiple? Does anybody have it? No, I have been watching Roy. Roy actually understands some of this. He's just mad at me for saying some of this stuff. Do you have Roy, if you get the multiple on that, let me know. Thanks for the correction. Did that explain it? Does everybody understand what a market cap is now? Good? Yeah.
It has a number of indicators. How much leveraging? Who has the leveraging? Is it, what is the amount of money in wealth that relative to the amount of cash that needs to exist and so on? These indicators, there are a number of them, show that we're on that chart. If I was to show you the chart, it's about 80% of where it was in those two times. That doesn't mean that that's the end of the move, okay? Because bubbles have to be pricked.
Right.
And so you can measure that there's vulnerability, a lot of vulnerability. There's a lot of vulnerability.
When he says bubbles need to be pricked, he's talking about like an action that brings the market down. So like in 2008, the action that brought the market down was the default rate on these packages of mortgages called CDOs, collateralized debt obligations. And so when the default rate, meaning people stopped paying their mortgages, and the mortgages defaulted and went back to the banks, each mortgage was tied into like a bigger investment. And too many of those defaulted. And there was so much betting because the stock market is betting. You had not only CDOs, but then they created like these synthetic CDOs where like you could bet on the CDO to fail, or you could bet on the bet of the CDO to fail. And they just like layered these different bets. And it was so tied into not only our market, but the world markets, because housing was seen as this untouchable investment that would never crash, that sparked the economic collapse. And then it just went everywhere. And we're in the same situation here. So these AI companies, they're moving cash in like with each other. So let's say like NVIDIA has these subsidiary companies. NVIDIA creates GPUs, and then they create a company. They have a company that's I think in Norway, where this company leases GPUs. So NVIDIA sells these GPUs to their own company. So it looks like NVIDIA just got a massive order of GPUs, and that they made all this money, but they actually own that company. So it's their own money that's coming in. And then that company leases out the GPUs, and then they take that revenue to look like that they're bringing in money. But when you get into the details, and if you go back in our notes, there's a video of an awesome lady on YouTube that breaks all this stuff down. So it's all interconnected. But on top of all that interconnection, you also have something called collateralized loan obligations. So a lot of these people who give out loans to tech companies, these venture capitalists, they have taken these smaller loans and they've packaged them together. So let's say you have 100 loans that you've given out. They've packaged them together in something called a collateralized loan obligation, which, think of the mortgages all in one package. These are the loans that they put together all in one package. And these loans are starting to default, and they're defaulting at higher rates than they were previously. So you have all these venture capitalists who are invested in all these companies who rely on the dividends that they're making here, or their ability to use that stock as leverage to loan money or to access capital. And if the default rates go too high, all of these loans are going to default, and we're going to have a capital crisis. Meaning, people say this all the time about Elon Musk. Like, it's the argument for why you can't tax Elon, because he's not paper, like he's not liquid. His wealth is tied up in the value of his stock, right? So because it's tied up in the value of that stock, and he's used that stock to get loans, if his stock crashes, for Twitter as an example, he paid $40 billion for Twitter. He didn't put any of his own money in there. It's tied to the value of his Tesla stock. So if these collateralized loan obligations crumble and we have a liquidity crisis, Tesla stock is going to drop, which means the people who loaned Elon Musk money against his stock are going to come to collect. And that's the situation that we're going to be in. They can't collect. This is what happened to the banks. When it came time for people to collect on those bets they made, the banks didn't have the money to pay them. And so the government had to bail them out. We have the same structure happening right now. None of these companies can afford what happens if it crashes. If their stock price craters, they are way too over leveraged. They have too much debt. So the stock will crash. The people that they owe money to will come asking for the money, and they don't have it. And that means millions, every one of you that has NVIDIA, Tesla stock in your portfolio, you will also lose all of your money. So it's not just that the billionaires have too much money and wealth. It's also that they've created this system where when it fails, we have no choice but to bail them out, they think. And that's what will happen. If these crash, everybody's going to lose like significant amounts of their 401ks and their retirements. And these people who weren't making these bad decisions are going to come to the government and say, what the fuck? And the government's going to go, we got to bail these people out. And then if they do it like 2008, they're just going to give the money to Tesla and NVIDIA, and they'll try and raise that stock price back up. They'll bail out the companies and say, oh, it's going to raise the stock back up, so all these people who lost value in their 401ks, they'll get that value back. That's why they're all pumping Trump full of money right now. That's why David Sachs works for the administration. That's why Trump is saying, when he just announced those $1,000 investment accounts for kids, starting in 2026, every child born gets $1,000 in an investment account. Trump gets to direct where that money goes. He's going to put it into these companies because they are in a liquidity crisis right now. So that's what and that's how you have to view this administration. They're always playing cat and mouse. When they tell you that they're doing something for the children, look at where that money's going. Yeah, it'll help these kids. It'll tie everybody together, but he's going to bail out businesses who are over-leveraged. We shouldn't allow businesses to get over-leveraged like this. And it's all Trump's friends. Somebody was arguing about Tesla in the chat earlier. Like, if you look at Tesla stock price, what are we at now? Just give you an example. Tesla stock price is 485.53. Tesla revenues in 2025. Let's go 2024 since it's a full year. Their revenues were 97 billion. So let's keep that in mind. 97 billion, stock price is 485. Now let's look at GM's stock price. GM stock price is $82. So it's $403 less valuable for a stock than Tesla. But if you look at GM revenues, and again, remember Tesla's revenues were 97 billion. What were GM's? 48.59. Oh no, that's sorry, that was just the quarter. Jesus. They have half that revenue in a quarter. Their revenue was $187.44 billion. So despite the fact that GM makes more money than Tesla, their stock is 8 into 45. What is it? 8 into 45? 5.5x. It's an inflated company. It makes no sense for their stock price to be that high. Is this making sense? And if these stock prices crater, Tesla's going to get a bailout. They're going to bail out all these rich guys. And he's pointing out correctly that the bubble's here, and all we need is a pin to prick the bubble. My guess is that the pin that pricks the bubble is going to be these collateralized loan obligations that default and destroy private equity.
Ability of who's holding what.
Here's my question to you about that, which is if the bubble is at this 80% range on your index or metric, there are folks, we had Paul Tudor Jones come in here a couple weeks ago, and he said, look, I think we're in October of 1999. By the way, the market would still have 40% to go. Back in 1928, Charles Merrill, who founded Merrill Lynch, told everybody, get out of the market because he thought it was a bubble. And he was right and he was wrong insofar as from the beginning of 1928 to September of 1929, stock market went up 90%. And so...
But I think that when you're looking at that, you're looking at it incorrectly. Okay, what is a bubble is the definition, right? I want to reiterate, a lot can go up before the bubble bursts. A bubble is an unsustained set of circumstances. It has unsustained...
Walker Clan, I think you're missing the point here. I'm not trying to say that GM, I think you're looking at this like me saying GM's the good guy, Tesla's the bad guy. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's overvalued. It's hype. Why is the Tesla stock $480 whatever dollars? It's because people invest. That's why. It's not because they're more profitable. I'm pointing out that the whole stock market is a casino. I was alive in 2008 when GM took a $25 billion bailout from Obama. I remember that. And was it Obama? Trump or Bush bailed out a bunch. I don't know exactly when GM's was. I don't know if that was Bush or Obama, but it was one of them. I am aware of that. I'm not trying to I think that weirdly enough, this illustrates the duopoly mindset that we have here, where I'm showing a problem with Tesla's stock price. And because Elon, I guess, is a Republican, you're making this like a competition or a duopoly. No, I'm just pointing out that that GM's stock price makes more sense than Tesla's. It doesn't make sense. That's it. That has nothing to do with politics. Tesla's stock price was higher before Elon Musk was involved in politics. It was inflated before that. All of these guys are running a scam. Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, Mark Andreessen, they're all in bed together and they've been scamming us for decades. It's just that right now, it's really, really fucking apparent.
Amount of buying. Right. It has an unsustained amount of valuation. It has, and then there's something that pricks the bubble.
Is there a way to sustain this, though?
You can't look at.
No, Derek. GM's just a car company, although Musk companies is a means to get to Mars. No, that's a different company. Tesla has nothing to do with SpaceX. So we're just comparing this one. And by the way, SpaceX is basically, when I said earlier that our government is just giving everything to the private market, that's what SpaceX is. SpaceX is Elon Musk convincing our government to give him our taxpayer money so that he'll run our space program instead. The money he's getting is almost exclusively from our federal government. And then he but he took all the NASA scientists that we trained and that we paid to get to where they are now.
Don't sell just because there's a bubble. Okay? Don't sell just because of bubble. But if you look...
All right, we can end there. That's what I think is going to happen with the bubble. Is there any other parts here? I'll cover some of this tomorrow. Yeah, let's get to Epstein. Now we're really going to fall apart. Now MAGA's really, really going to fall apart. MT Clark said, Merry Christmas, Jen. So does Marty Stevens. Appreciate that, guys. Josh said, Merry Christmas. That's from Nightcrawler. Thank you. Paul said, Merry Christmas, Jen. To you, to both you and Jay, and for all you're doing. Thank you very much. Some of you are forgetting that we're in a war on Christmas, and you're out here saying Merry Christmas. Julie said Happy Holidays, Jay and Jen. Denise said Merry Christmas and thanks. Laura said thank you, Jen. Alex said, have you watched the 60 Minutes episode? I have it on the outline today, but we'll probably get to it tomorrow. I missed Biden's and I missed the Biden administration's quiet competence. I got that. Thank you. All right, let's talk about the Epstein files. We got plenty of time. First, I want to show this video from Democracy Now! On how Jeffrey Epstein acquired his wealth. And I think this is important because the Epstein files, I think politically is a Trump thing. I think that's often how we look at it. And admittedly, like as I'm searching through Twitter, I have to stop myself from saying like, oh, this is about Trump. The Epstein files is more than just about Trump. It's how the wealthy, prominent men in this country and in this world were able to hide their trafficking and sexual abuse of young girls all over the world, and how they were able to use their contacts within the government, the intelligence communities, and foreign countries, how they were able to bribe local officials in order to keep this stuff under wraps. It's much bigger than Trump. The fact that Trump is in the files is troubling, but it is bigger than that. It's about a power, and it's about wealth, and it's about knowing that these folks have way more power and the ability to cover up horrendous crimes because of their friends, their powerful friends in government. So I want to show this first on exactly how Epstein did make his money.
Now, democracynow.org. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez. Friday's the deadline for the Department of Justice to
Good
release...
point, Kate. They're still getting away from it. I was saying the people with Epstein, and since he's dead. But yes, good point. People are still getting away with it.
Its investigative files into the dead financier and serial sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. The deadline was set with the passage of the Epstein Transparency Act last month. One of the questions that's remained largely unanswered until now is, how did Jeffrey Epstein become so extravagantly wealthy? Wealth that both enabled his crimes and shielded him from scrutiny and accountability for so many years. Well, a new investigation by the New York Times uncovered details.
Let me stop that real quick because I forgot some of these. So we're going to get into how he made his money. That's the question. But Sam said, have a wonderful holiday. Adam said, to remove Tesla from the board removes Twitter. I'm not sure what you're asking. I think what you're saying is that, Elon essentially could lose Twitter because he bought it with leverage by leveraging his Tesla stock. He didn't invest his own. He took investor money, but a large portion of the purchase was backed by his Tesla stock. So the banks own that stock, and that's their leverage. So when that stock dips, they can hold on to it, and they can hope that, and maybe they will choose to hold on to it, thinking that Twitter will rebound or that Tesla will rebound. But the point is that the value is tied to those banks, and they can collect kind of whenever they want. And if the stock starts dipping and they see a crash, they might try and collect right then. Illusion said, you're singing my tune. The crash is coming, folks. And MT Clark said, Merry Christmas, Jen. Walker Klein, you said they have their own scientists. They are not part of NASA. NASA piggyback off them now. Where have you been? That's not what I said, bud. I said he took the scientists from NASA. Have you ever been to NASA? If you go to NASA, what is on the grounds of NASA? If you take a tour of NASA, you can go in there and you can ride around in a cart. SpaceX is there. And basically, they've privatized all of space travel, and they've given that to SpaceX. Then SpaceX hired a bunch of people that worked at NASA who no longer had a space travel program because they gave it to Elon. And we're just handing out government money to Elon Musk for this. That's what I was saying. Hope that clears it up.
About Epstein's rise, previously unreported, and provides an answer. The investigation's headline, Scam Schemes, Ruthless Cons, the untold story of how Jeffrey Epstein got rich. This is a video clip featuring some of the reporters. It begins with business reporter Jessica Silver Greenberg.
How did Jeffrey Epstein have the financial backing to abuse what turns out to be hundreds of young women and girls?
The hundreds of millions of dollars.
That's not what happened, Walker Klein. You're revising history. Let's stay on topic now. You're revising history by saying NASA went under and Elon brought it back. That's silly.
Epstein amassed the palatial estates and aircraft.
Connections to some of the wealthiest, most established people all over the world. There's been a tremendous number of conspiracy theories and myths.
From he was running a huge blackmail operation to he was affiliated with spy agencies.
Gotcha, Adam.
Through months of reporting and digging through documents.
People's diaries, letters, old photo albums.
The answer is he stole it.
He stole it. The New York Times investigation begins with Epstein in his early 20s, a college dropout teaching math at the prestigious Dalton High School here in New York. He's introduced by a student's father to Ace Greenberg, the future chief executive of Bear Stearns, an introduction that changed Epstein's life. For more, we're joined by New York Times Deputy Investigations Editor David Enrich, who co-wrote the new piece. We thank you so much for being with us, joining us from Dobbs Ferry. Can you name names, lay out Jeffrey Epstein's rise, the critical importance of the people he connected with, and the lies, the thievery, all that you lay out after, what, months, years of this investigation?
Yeah, we've spent a long time on this one, and it really starts at Bear Stearns, where Epstein is introduced to a guy named Ace Greenberg, who was a top executive at the investment firm. And Greenberg and another of his colleagues, Jimmy Kane, who's also a top executive there, took Epstein under their wings and made him their protege. And Epstein proceeded to go on kind of this spree of wrongdoing at Bear Stearns, everything from abusing his expense account, lying on his resume, giving a girlfriend early access to kind of hot investment deals. And time again, Epstein's protectors at the bank went to bat for him and basically got him out of trouble. And this was the start of a lifelong pattern for Epstein, where he would push the envelope, cross ethical, moral, sometimes legal lines, and basically escape with impunity because of his really astounding ability to charm people in positions of power and to use his leverage over people in positions of power. And one of the things we heard about Bear Stearns was that he was, and this was a time in the late 70s and early 80s where there was a lot of drugs and sex going on within the firm itself. And Epstein, it sounds like, was providing some of the top executives with drugs and with access to women. And so, you know, he had leverage and he was not afraid to use the leverage. And again, we see this over and over and over again in the ensuing decades of Epstein's life and career.
Walker, you're doing a lot of like conspiracy stuff now. If her husband's in the CIA, that's fine. Is any of this information incorrect? Now you're just attacking people based on association. If any of this information is correct, feel free to correct it. I don't care who her husband is.
And David, one of the key figures that he cultivated was the Harvard law professor Alan Dershowitz. Could you talk about how they got together and the importance of Dershowitz in his rise?
Yeah, and Dershowitz is interesting because he is both, and he goes on to become Epstein's kind of leading defender and leading protector. But Epstein connects with him by doing this thing that he does all the time, which is he leverages one connection to form another, And so in the case of Dershowitz...
Isn't it crazy? MAGA coping art. We haven't even talked about Trump in this whole video. Like, this whole video hasn't talked about Trump, and MAGA's already losing their minds.
Epstein in the early 90s had become close with a woman named Lynn Forrester, who was this successful telecom executive who was very close to Bill Clinton and the Clinton White House. Epstein befriends her. She is friends with Dershowitz, and Forrester asks Dershowitz if Epstein can come over and visit him. So Epstein and Dershowitz get together on Martha's Vineyard, and Epstein convinces Dershowitz to fly out to Ohio with Epstein for a birthday party for Les Wexner.
Look, if he's not involved so far, then why are you guys bringing Trump up? I don't know.
Who is the billionaire retail tycoon who owns brands like Victoria's Secret. And this is the start of a years-long and very fruitful relationship for both Epstein and Dershowitz. I mean, Dershowitz gets a lot of notoriety and, I think from his perspective, probably fame from his representation of...
All right, somebody mute Walker. Walker, I asked you to stay on topic. This is your last chance. You got to stay on topic.
Epstein. And Epstein, for his part...
Don't mute him yet. If he can stay on topic, we can unmute him. But you got to stay on topic, bud.
this access to a world-class lawyer who engineers a sweetheart deal for him in around 2007 that gets him basically out of trouble when he was facing a sex trafficking and money laundering investigation in Florida. And Dershowitz, and to this day, is one of Epstein's leading public defenders. And so it was an investment that Epstein made in this man in a very kind of prescient way early on. And that entailed not just introducing him to people, but also getting him access to invest in very exclusive hedge funds. And when those investments didn't work out, getting Dershowitz bailed out of those investments. So Epstein was just absolutely masterful at leveraging one connection to benefit another. And, you know, it's often been said that Epstein is this
Walker, I didn't say you're wrong. I said you're not on topic. The last chance, bud.
Genius and this super sophisticated financier. What we found in our reporting is much simpler, which is that he may have been those things, but the evidence shows that what made a difference for him in the long run was his ability to charm and entrance and leverage powerful people off of one another.
And if you can talk about the connections as we're about to see the documents released, if we are.
All right, that was just the part I want to show. So just understanding like how he created leverage with these people. When you look at power structures and you look at the criminal organizations or criminal conspiracies, you have to understand leverage. And what Jeffrey Epstein appears in all of this to be excellent at is acquiring leverage that he uses over people. And when people make really bad decisions when you have embarrassing information about them, they'll often do things that are horrific because they don't want the embarrassing information about themselves to be released. And that's you can see like a pattern with Epstein. He would get in with rich and powerful people. That's why he hosted all these parties all the time. He'd put them in compromising situations. He would record it. He'd get them to do things. You know, maybe they were married. Maybe they were just cheated with a prostitute. Maybe there was an underage person. And he recorded all of that so that he had leverage. If you want to get leverage over powerful people, use sex. And use criminality. It's a great way to do it. All right. And now let's talk about what's in the files. First thing I want to talk about is being very careful about what we share. There was a letter that was purportedly from Jeffrey Epstein to Larry Nassar that's included in the files. It's almost certainly fake. It's a North Virginia postmark. It was postmarked after Jeffrey Epstein died. And we have to remember that not everything in these files is fact. It's all the evidence. So some of this stuff is just people say, I mean, all of it mostly is people saying stuff. And we've got to be able to parse through that. But some things that come about, we need to double check. And that's one. So if you see that, it's easy to be fooled. I was fooled at first. I had to fact check it. That one appears to be fake. So that's the first thing I want to say. Secondly, I want to point out that both Kash Patel and Pam Bondi, and I showed this clip yesterday, but we'll show it again today, both of them lied under oath, and both of them should lose their jobs for lying under oath. First, Kash Patel.
Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself?
Himself. There is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one?
For the information that we have.
In the files? In
the case file.
Who, if anyone,
that was
Epstein
obviously a
traffic?
lie, and we can prove it here now from the update. And this is from our Justice Department. We don't have names obviously because it's blacked out, but this is a case that Pam Bondi and Kash Patel closed after both Bondi and Kash Patel said nobody else was involved. This is an email from July 9th, 2019, during the first Trump administration, while this investigation was going on. It says of the 10 co-conspirators. There were at least 10 co-conspirators here in this investigation. 3 have been located in Florida and served grand jury subpoenas. 1 in Boston, 1 in New York, 1 in Connecticut were located and served. 4 of the 10 are outstanding with attempts having been made. 1 is a wealthy businessman in Ohio, and a lead is being sent to CV. The remaining 3 are currently out of pocket. The team, 8 SAs, I don't even know what necessarily, SAs and TFOs, 2 AUSAs. Those are just members of the Justice Department. I don't know. What's a SA? That's does anybody know what these are? SA means. Don't make me Google it. Somebody's got to know. SA is what Trump does. Let's see. Special agent was a TFO. TFO is a task force officer and a AUSA. Oops. The AUSA is Assistant United States Attorney. There we go. Flying out tonight/tomorrow to various locations in Florida to interview approximately 25 victims. 1-800-CALL FBI line is up and running. We've received approximately 45 calls, and we are in the process of vetting out. Let me know if you need anything. In response, a special ASC is requesting an update on the 10 co-conspirators by today. Can you tell us how many successfully been located, interviewed, served with GJs? That was the initial question. So we now know that Kash Patel and Pam Bondi, who had access to these, either lied or they didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. Either way, incompetence or lying, they probably shouldn't have the jobs that they have. Next, this is an FBI email. Actually, that's the same email. I'll skip here. Then Clinton yesterday comes out and says we should release these files, and this was Trump's response. Which, if you're like just a Trump dick rider, you're gonna figure out a way to say that this wasn't weird. If you're a human being, then you're probably gonna say that this is a weird answer. This doesn't seem like Donald Trump is in favor of releasing these files.
Thank you, Mr. President. Were you surprised by the number of photos of Bill Clinton in the Epstein files? And can you commit to their full?
What?
And were you surprised by the number of photos of Bill Clinton in the Epstein files? And can you commit to their full release by the end of the year? Some of the victims were protesting that too many of them were redacted.
I know there are a lot of people that are angry about all of the pictures of.
Raise your hand if you're angry. Just a thumbs up in the chat if you're angry about how many names were redacted. Remember, the rules were the only names that were allowed to be redacted were names of victims. You weren't allowed to be redacted unless you were a victim. Thumbs up or raise your hand if you're upset about that. MAGA, do we have any of the MAGA, or any of you MAGA folks upset that those names were redacted? Or have you guys just decided the Epstein files don't matter anymore? Do we have any MAGA? I'm looking for it. Thank you, guys. Cosmos, somebody just deport Cosmos. Cosmos, you're done for the day. You're muted the rest of the day. I'm tired of you. You listen, engage with what we're saying. Don't just suck Donald Trump's dick publicly. Thank you. We've heard all those questions before, Cosmos. I don't care about Dems or Republicans. We're talking about victims right now. You don't want to talk about the victims. You want to play politics. That's not what we're doing right now. We're talking about actual victims. Okay. Trump disagrees with you. Trump isn't upset that these names are redacted. In fact, he would like them, it seems like he'd like them to be redacted.
All of the pictures of other people, but I think it's terrible. Look, I don't like I like Bill Clinton. I've always gotten along with Bill Clinton. I've been nice to him. He's been nice to me. We've always gotten along. Respect him.
That's your guy, Donald. He really respects Bill Clinton. Did that one hurt at least a little bit? Did that one hurt like a little bit? That Donald Trump really respects Bill Clinton?
I hate to see photos come out of him, but this is what the Democrats, mostly Democrats, and a couple of bad Republicans are asking for. So,
uh-oh. I thought Trump wanted him released. He said this is what the Democrats and some bad Republicans wanted. Does that square with your guys' defense that he wanted them released? Because at the start of this show, some of you that are still here said that he wanted them released. That feels like a whoopsies to me.
that's and a couple of bad Republicans are asking for. So,
is that who it was? I thought it was almost unanimous. Now what do we do with that, Republicans? He signed it into law. Is he one of the bad Republicans? The lights keep flickering on and off.
they're giving their photos of me too. Everybody was friendly with this guy, either friendly or not friendly, but they were.
Raise your hand if you were friendly with Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, all of your friends were friendly with him. all the rich and powerful. You guys were all friends with him. Most of us weren't. You were.
He was around. He was all over Palm Beach and other places. The head of Harvard was his best friend, Larry Summers. And Bill Clinton was a friend of his, but everybody was.
Jeffrey Epstein said that you were his best friend, though. It's interesting the stuff that, like, we're just watching this spin. Republicans will believe anything as long as it's not Donald Trump. If Donald Trump says Larry Summers is his best friend, fine. But when Jeffrey Epstein's on the record saying Trump was his best friend, when Jeffrey Epstein's brother said Trump was his best friend, that's all fake.
I actually threw him out of Mar-a-Lago. And as a person that was in Mar-a-Lago, I threw him out. Mar-a-Lago, this is Mar-a-Lago. It's the hottest place I think it's the hottest place in the world, but it's the hottest place in Florida.
I threw him out of Mar-a-Lago. This is Mar-a-Lago. It's the hottest place in maybe not the world, but in Florida. That's a weird thing to say, first of all. Talking about, we don't even have any evidence that he was thrown out of Mar-a-Lago. As far as I can tell, his records were removed from Mar-a-Lago when he went to prison the first time. I think 2007. And by prison, I mean a county jail where he was allowed work release, where he went home and abused more children. As far as we know, that when he stopped paying at Mar-a-Lago is when he got removed. We've seen the rolls. He wasn't removed from the rolls. In fact, Donald Trump has never, this is the first time I've actually heard Trump say this. The last time Trump talked about this, he said that he and Epstein got in a fight because Epstein stole one of the workers. The story for years from you Republicans, which you don't tell anymore, and you all pretend you didn't tell the story, but you used to tell us that Trump threw Epstein out because Epstein hit on one of the Mar-a-Lago members' kids. That was a lie. Do you remember how many of you told that lie? Do you remember how many of your politicians repeated that lie? I remember Marjorie Taylor Greene saying it. You all said that. You've now changed your story, haven't you?
And everybody would come.
Look it up. Trump was the high-profile Palm Beach informant that led to the 2008 investigation. I did look that up. Where's the evidence of that, Bob?
He'd come here. We actually threw him out. But no, I don't like the pictures of Bill Clinton being shown. I don't like the pictures of other people being shown. I think it's a terrible thing. I think Bill Clinton's a big boy. He can handle it. But you probably have pictures being exposed of other people that innocently met Jeffrey Epstein years ago, many years ago, and they're, highly respected bankers and lawyers and others.
All right. That was a weird announcement he just made there. That was a weird thing he said. Only bad Republicans wanted these released, even though all the Republicans voted for it and he signed it into law. We were right about him. And if any of you, Republicans have any integrity at all, you'll admit right now that we were right about that. That Trump tried to keep this hidden. And none of you will. You'll all say, why did the Democrats keep it hidden? There was no discharge petition. Why? The question, it's a fair question. But the discharge petition was brought by a Republican. Why didn't the Republicans bring a discharge petition when Joe Biden was president? They could have done that. Why'd they wait until Trump was president? Because of new information. The real answer is, it's because a bunch of victims came forward and Congress didn't give a fuck about any of this. Nobody gave a fuck about any of this until the victims came forward and got a meeting with Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna, and Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie for the first time heard their stories. And then they couldn't deny it anymore, and they brought a discharge petition. That's the real truth, is that nobody in our government really gave a fuck about this. They had to be face-to-face with the victims before they did anything about this. That's the truth. You can play partisan games all you want. You can try and blame Dems or Republicans. That's just you coping. That's just you trying to figure out some way to not find it weird, at the very least weird, that Donald Trump is in so many pictures with Epstein. And Donald Trump's name keeps coming up in so many of these files. And they lied about it so many times. And Trump lied about his actions with Epstein so many times. I don't care, Bob. I don't care what Trump said. He didn't. What do you mean? What about the 2015 campaign trail video? Did he release them? He made a video saying he'd release them. Then he didn't release them. Shut the fuck up, Bob. Why didn't he release them then, Bob?
Well, he did a campaign video.
I don't even know if he did a campaign video or not. I thought he brought people about Bill Clinton. I don't think it had anything to do with Epstein. You can send it to me. But then he didn't do it, did he?
Well, but at least he did a video.
God, you guys, you got to get his dick out of your mouth for 2 seconds. He campaigned on it? When? What should I search, Bob? We'll search Trump campaign video, Epstein. I think the video you're talking about was victims of Bill Clinton. But if Trump was president, which he was, why didn't he just release it then? Why did he threaten all the Republicans not to release it? Why in that clip that I just showed you did he say it shouldn't have been released? I don't even know why I'm doing this with you. Jesus, like, I don't even know why I'm even going down this road. I just showed you a clip of Trump saying he shouldn't have released them. And you're like, but he said it. Trump campaign video 2015, Epstein. No, but he brings up Bill Clinton. I know he talked about Bill Clinton. No, you don't get to change the subject. Bob's muted for 5 minutes. Somebody mute Bob for 5 minutes. You said he brought up Epstein. It's about Clinton. You're a liar. Shut the fuck up for 5 minutes. Thank you. We're going to keep going with this.
You're censoring me.
I am censoring you. This is not a free speech platform for dummies. All right. Which one's this? The DOJ this morning released a bunch more files, and they said this. This is honestly like, this is, if you don't think this is corrupt, like, I don't know what to tell you about this. The Department of Justice has officially released nearly 30,000 more pages of documents related to Jeffrey Epstein. Some of these documents contain untrue and sensationalist claims made against President Trump that were submitted to the FBI before the 2020 election. What is their evidence that this is untrue? They're going to tell you, it's on YouTube, Roy. What is their evidence that this is untrue? This next sentence. To be clear, the claims are unfounded and false, and if they had a shred of credibility, they certainly would have been weaponized against Trump already. That's not evidence. None of that is evidence. That doesn't mean that it's untrue. Take dick out of mouth. Take dick out of mouth. These are not the president's fucking lawyers. These are the people who covered up the Epstein files. The Department of Justice, who covered this all up, who tried to keep it hidden, who is currently in open defiance of the law, who is currently, they're blacking out names of Trump and his friends. They're currently covering this up, and they're like, nothing to see here. We're going to put this out, and with no evidence, we're going to say anything that mentions Trump is untrue. Nevertheless, out of our commitments to law and transparency, the DOJ is releasing these documents with the legally required protections for Epstein victims. No, they're not. They are censoring information that has nothing to do with victims. They are censoring the co-conspirators. We don't have that list. We know that multiple times they censored out Trump's name. They are not complying with the law. I'm tired of you. I'm tired of you, I'm MAGA. I'm tired of MAGA. For those of us that have kids, like, I don't want to live in a country where you guys just dismiss child abuse like this because, oh, it couldn't be him. I voted for him. It couldn't be him. I'm not even making like statements here saying that this is factual or not, because I don't know. I can just tell you what's in them. But they are saying it. Our intelligence committee is telling you without any evidence that they are not true. And the evidence is, oh, we would definitely, like, this is a little bit of a self-report here. But they're out here saying that Biden would have released it if it was true, so it's not true. Same people that are saying Biden had no idea what was going on. I haven't made up one thing, Tom. Shut the fuck up. I haven't made up one thing. I'm pointing out what the Justice Department is lying about here. If you don't like that, you can leave this country. The rest of this live, I'm going to get pissed because I've got a daughter. And you scumbag motherfuckers who won't take Trump's dick out of your mouth long enough to recognize that we have an opportunity to take down a lot of powerful people who abuse children No, but I voted Trump. I got the hats and the merch and the shoes. I got it all. It's my whole life. Good. If you're a daughter too, then I hope that you're on my side, Truth Seeker, and I hope that you're not believing unsubstantiated claims here that what they're saying about Trump is untrue. I don't give a fuck. Yeah. All right. Anybody? I'll ban all of you. Cry harder. Phil 9055 on YouTube. Mods, get rid of Phil 9055. Go fuck yourself, Phil. I have no patience for people who think like being upset that children get abused. You're like, cry harder. That's crazy. What a dog shit human. I wasn't silent on the files for years either, Billy. I wasn't silent on the files. We didn't have the files, Billy. What the fuck did you want me to do, Billy? I didn't have the fucking files. How am I supposed to cover it if the government wouldn't let it out? You didn't watch me for 4 years. Have you ever, is anybody that's watched me the entire time, have I ever said anything other than release the files? Have I ever said anything other than release the files? Billy, get rid of Billy. Billy can go too. Now, Billy, you're lying about me. To cope because Donald Trump's dick is in your mouth. You've been on this live for like a week. You have no idea what I said. And now you're lying about me because you don't want to talk about what your party is doing right now. You're gone too. I'm not doing this with you. You guys can disrespect me any day, but not about this. What are we going to do about this, Republicans? It's in the files. Asked about his time driving a limousine for 2 years in the Dallas-Fort Worth area during blank time as a driver. I don't know how that would be redacted. He had met Donald Trump. Blank, which is the guy's name, noted he picked the president up in 1995 and took him to the Dallas-Fort Worth airport. He reported some of the things Trump had spoken about during the ride while on his cell phone were very concerning. Blank reported he was a few seconds from pulling the limousine over on the median and within a few seconds of pulling him out of the car and hurting him due to some of the things he was saying. His caller chose not to. Blank noted Trump continuously stated the name Jeffrey while on the phone and made references to abusing some girl. Blank was unsure who he was talking to or who he was referencing. As Blank talked about his time meeting Donald Trump, Blank immediately, Blank demeanor went with stone cold and stated that he raped me. Said what as Blank replied, Donald J. Trump had raped her along with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, this is a driver that is confirming something that a victim claimed. Now, again, do we know that it's true? No. Should we investigate it? Yeah. We should investigate it. I'm saying we should investigate it. And you have Trump's dick in your mouth, and you don't protect women or children, so you're saying, I don't have to believe this without the proof. I'm not asking for you to convict him over this. I'm asking you why we don't investigate this. Two people, the victim and now this driver, is confirming that story. Could they both be lying? Sure. Should we investigate it? Yeah. If we don't investigate it, what are we telling victims everywhere? Doesn't matter if they hated Trump, Truth Seeker. See, get your dick out of his mouth. Or get his dick out of your mouth, I mean. Investigate it. Do you want it investigated, Truth Seeker? That's what I'm asking. Do you think Trump should be investigated for this? Or should we just ignore it because somebody didn't like him? Do we throw out testimony because somebody doesn't like Donald Trump? Do we do that in normal court cases? Oh, they can't testify because they don't like me. I just sat through like multiple murder trials a friend of mine was involved in. I got to tell you, when it came time for him to testify about his niece and nephew who were murdered, they didn't discredit his testimony because he didn't like the person that murdered the niece and nephew. I want to know, Truth Seeker, should we investigate Trump for this? Should we get to the bottom of this? That's a fair thing for me to ask for. Yeah, of course we should. No, because we can't investigate Trump. What's up?
Just to remind everybody, if you guys want to come up and have a conversation, Truth Seeker, I think you in particular would like to have a conversation. How you can do that is if you look at the Venmo username, that is my Discord username. Doesn't cost you anything. Discord's a free app. Send me a message on Discord. I can bring you up to have a conversation. So
I appreciate it. Truth Seeker, to be clear, Truth Seeker said yes. Great, Truth Seeker. Now, one more question, Truth Seeker. How do you know that that person hated Trump? Did you assume that? I want to know that question. We don't even know that person's name. How did you decide that that person hated Trump? We'll wait. The testimony from Epstein. We're not talking about the okay, so you admit, then okay, great. We should investigate Trump. Why aren't we investigating Trump, do you think, Truth Seeker? Now that the FBI and DOJ have been sitting on this. By the way, not all these things were available under the Biden administration, just so we're clear. Some of these were still ongoing investigations, specifically Ghislaine. And because they were ongoing investigations, you couldn't release them publicly. Why aren't we investigating? Why is Pam Bondi and Kash Patel not investigating Trump right now? Yeah, I'll pull that up. I'll pull up that CoffeeZilla video in a minute, Supreme. I don't know why I didn't add it here. I get it that we're opposed to each other most of the time. For anybody here that's like a Trump person, but if we as a country can't just say that these women deserve an investigation, we're pathetic. Why are we going back to 1995? Because women were abused and the government covered it up. We know for certain that at least as early as 1996, the FBI was covering this up, Larry. Maybe you hate women enough that you think that they should just be allowed to be victims. I'm saying they're women now, Don. So I'm saying that they deserve it now. The women deserve it now, right? That's what I'm saying, women. I agree that they were children when it happened. But the people that have come forward are women, and they deserve, at the very least, an investigation. No, Truth Seeker. I'm not asking you if they had 6 years to investigate. They can investigate it now. I'm asking you now that we have all this information. And look, the FBI was covering this up. We know the FBI was covering this up. We have evidence of that now. And the FBI isn't partisan. Like most of the people in the FBI stay between administrations. And we know from history that like the FBI and CIA hide stuff from the president all the time. The president doesn't know what's going on all the time. I'm asking about now. Truth Seeker, please, for the love of God, just get out of your MAGA world for a second. Just for one fucking second. You now know for the first time, this is the first time you know that the FBI was hiding this. Like you know for a fact. We all could have guessed. Now you know for a fact that the FBI and the DOJ was hiding this. And the people just happen to be in charge of the FBI and DOJ right now, happen to be Trump appointees. Kash Patel and Pam Bondi. Nobody else can investigate it. We can't go back in time. Why are we not investigating it right now? And why did Pam Bondi and Kash Patel lie about this? I agree that means Merrick Garland fucked up by not doing this too. James Comey fucked up. Everybody who has been the attorney general or head of the FBI since 1995 has fucked up. I agree, but the only one that can investigate it now is Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, and I want to know why. The FBI isn't partisan. There are Democrats and Republicans in the FBI. I think they are loyal to themselves. Is that what this is really about? You guys just don't want it to happen under Trump's watch? You don't want your guy's obviously implicated, and you know that. And you know that any investigation is going to be an investigation into him, and you're going to find out stuff about him that you don't like. There's certainly things about Trump in these files that make me think he's not a good person. And there's an accusation that he graped somebody. I'm not saying that part is true, but there's enough truth there that makes him look like a questionable human being. And I think this is a little bit pathetic that like we legitimately have to have division here. I know that there's Republicans out there that would agree with me on this. But we are so fucked as a country. We are so divided that we can't do, like, none of us are saying don't go after Bill Clinton. Go after Bill Clinton. If Obama's in the file, go after, look, what's his name? Bill Gates. He's been a huge Democratic voter and supporter. Investigate him. Larry Summers, he was Obama's one of his chief advisors. That's somebody that Democrats believed for a long time. Go after Larry Summers. I don't care. I literally don't care. It seems like nobody, all of you MAGA folks, you don't care who's in the file. You say investigate all of them except one. Except one guy. For some reason, you give this one guy a different set of rules. Sarge, you can go then. Somebody get rid of Sarge. See you, Sarge. Sarge 21112, if it's old news to you, you can get the fuck out. It's literally brand new. It came out today, but you can leave. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Tony. Stop pretending to care about Epstein victims after calling them all liars to justify accusing Trump. Yeah. I don't get any of you guys that are trying to obfuscate from this. Your brain, like, our brains are broken collectively as a country. Arrest all of them, clean up the government, start over. Right, yeah. All right. Actually, hold on real quick. Sent somebody the wrong link. Just had to correct that real quick. Is this the same one? Yeah, that's the same one from earlier. This one. All right, let me pull this video first. Here's a tweet from Donald Trump. I don't remember the date's not on this. This is what the Democrats do to their Republican opponent, who is leading them by a lot in the polls. This is AI and is very dangerous for our country. This is when they said that Trump was on the flight logs for Epstein. Also, I was never on Epstein's plane or at his stupid island. Strong laws ought to be developed against AI. It will be a big and very dangerous problem in the future. I like that part. Now he just AI has no regulations. That's weird. Now we have no strong laws against AI once he's president. It seems like they all bought him. But he says here, I was never on Epstein's plane or at his stupid island. This, according to flight records, and this is from the DOJ, for your situational awareness, wanted to let you know that the flight records we received yesterday reflect that Donald Trump traveled on Epstein's private jet many more times than previously had been reported or that we were aware, including during the period where we would expect to charge in a Maxwell case. In particular, he is listed as a passenger on at least 8 flights between 93 and 96, including at least 4 flights on which Maxwell was also present. He's listed as having traveled with, among others, and at various times, Marla Maples, his daughter Tiffany, and his son Eric. On one flight in 93, he and Epstein are the only 2 listed passengers. On another, the only 3 passengers are Epstein, Trump, and the then 20-year-old, that's the victim's name. On 2 other flights, 2 of the passengers, respectively, were women who would be possible witnesses in a Maxwell case. We've just finished reviewing the full records, more than 100 pages of a very small script, and didn't want any of this to be a surprise down the road. This was whoever the assistant U.S. attorney, Southern District of New York. Again, I don't know why their names are redacted. Trump lied to you. I was never on Epstein's plane. This is from 2020. This was his own DOJ while he was in office. So Trump's DOJ knew that he was lying in 2020 and they didn't say anything? Why didn't Trump put this out? Dwight Schrute, you can take off too. Get rid of Dwight Schrute. I'm not playing with you guys today. You don't get to come in here while we're talking about people being abused and try and go after me. Sorry, you can come back when we're not covering the Epstein files and come after me. Where's Truth Seeker? Truth Seeker, what do we do with that? The real Dwight would never. What do we do with that, Truth Seeker? Robin says, thanks, Jen. Appreciate it. Soup says, thank you for everything you do behind the scenes, Jen. Hop over here. Danielle said, Trump just said he doesn't like P3DOs being exposed. Thank you. Thank you, Marianne. Did Truth Seeker answer that? How do you feel about him lying about that? Saying it was AI. He literally said that the fact that he was on the plane was AI. And it was dangerous and he would set laws against that. Not only did he lie about being on the plane, but he's not doing anything about AI. In fact, he's using AI every single day. He posted AI of shitting on Harry Sisson. Did we get quiet over there, Truth Seeker? All right, let's go to the next thing. This is from the FBI. This is an intake form. Hard to read. I'll read it for you. You can go up here and read this stuff for yourself. But blank knew about criminal activity which happened in multiple states. I assume that means, I don't know who the witness is. On airplanes, etc. Blank claimed there were films of men who were recorded. These men are prominent figures such as Epstein, President Bill Clinton, and President Donald Trump. Maxwell is also on the tapes. Shouldn't we know what's on those tapes? Did we get Truth Seeker back? MAGA, should we know what's on those tapes? We know that tapes exist. So much hate and attacks before Christmas. Fuck off. Your president was best friends with a renowned pedophile. Sorry that I'm bringing this up and ruining your Christmas spirit. Jesus wasn't born in December anyways. You can celebrate his birthday on his actual birthday. Truth Seeker dipped. I'd dip too if I was them. So now we've got this is from the FBI again, by the way. This is a I guess a tip or a testimony that the tapes involve Trump, Clinton, Epstein, and Maxwell. Go fuck yourself, Mike. I'll say whatever I want whenever I want. I'm not taking days off to cover for Donald Trump. I'm sorry that makes you uncomfortable that your president is trying to cover up for the most renowned P3DO ever. Sorry that bothers you during Christmas time. Go somewhere else. Go watch Elf. Maybe go beat off to your cutout of Donald Trump. Maybe that'll work. Now, it's Katie Johnson, right? She's the one that accused Donald Trump and Epstein of abusing her, graping her together. She also said that the reason she didn't come out is because Epstein threatened her, said he would blow up her house. As you go through the files, you'll know that there's multiple people testifying that Epstein threatened them. So maybe we should think about these women. Maybe the reason this is all coming out late, maybe because Epstein's dead now, and these people are implicated. Maybe that's why they're coming out now, because they feel like they finally have a little bit of protection. At that point, she said, I ran to the door and figured out how to get out of there. A girl outside asked me where I was going, and she said to be careful. She said that Mr. Epstein knew a lot of powerful people, including Bill Clinton, and that if I didn't do what Mr. Epstein wanted, I would not be able to have any job in the industry. I was so scared I couldn't wait to get out of there and left. I took the train home, and I spent all of my savings getting Victoria's Secret lingerie to prepare for what I thought would be my audition, but instead, it seemed like a casting call for prostitution. I felt like I was in hell. One of the things that they did is they would bring these women in and they would claim that it was modeling, all these modeling agencies. And Epstein would say to them, hey, these powerful men that own modeling agencies, like, they'll give you jobs, but you're going to have to perform for them. Can we think of any other powerful people outside of Les Wexner that might have had modeling agencies for young girls? Can we think of anybody else that owned a modeling agency? Oh, yeah, Trump. But let's definitely not investigate this, right? Again, I want to just point out, what we have evidence of is enough to investigate. We don't have evidence to convict Donald Trump of a crime. Maybe he didn't do any of this. There's certainly enough here to investigate. Unless you're MAGA, then it's like, no, please don't investigate our God, our Lord and Savior, Donald Trump. Let's see, was there any other ones? Epstein's brother submitted a tip in 2023 saying that he believed his brother was taken out by the Trump administration. You can read that in there. This was interesting. Why is this being hidden? I don't know who sent this. These aren't victims. Hi, blank. I hope you're well. I'm helping out with the responsiveness review of WBTW, and I've been looking around through Steve Bannon's iPhone 7 on Celebrite. As I was going through the images from that phone, I found an image of Trump and Ghislaine Maxwell on Bannon's phone. I discussed with Sonny, and we wanted to flag this for you in case it was of any importance to you since you were on both cases. Please let me know if you'd like anything further done with this. Why did the Department of Justice black out a photo of Trump and Ghislaine Maxwell? Is that not against the law? Isn't that against the law? Why is this blacked out in the files? Why don't we have this photo of Trump and Ghislaine Maxwell? What was it doing on Steve Bannon's phone? Why are these names blacked out here? These names aren't allowed to be blacked out. This picture isn't allowed to be blacked out. If there's nothing to see here, why are we censoring it? There's not a way to unredact all of it. There's a way to unredact some of it, Rory. They screwed up, and if you like copy and paste some of these files, if you just copy them into a Word doc, it removes the blackout. I don't you guys know I don't know how to do any of this shit, but apparently there's some way of formatting that keeps it blacked out even if you copy and paste it, and they didn't do that. Let's get to this. This came out last night. God bless CoffeeZilla, by the way. Let me pull this up. Oh, he was on with Breaking Points today? That's sweet. Did he do it on CoffeeZilla or Voidzilla? Let me see. Looks like he did it on Voidzilla, maybe. 1 second. Yeah. We'll have more on this. It looks like he went on with Breaking Points. He'll explain probably more of this later. I'll watch that. But here's CoffeeZilla. The
FBI just accidentally
in the game. CoffeeZilla on his second channel, Voidzilla here. And here's something that I don't think has been very public. Maybe it has been since we've gone live.
Released 11,000 Jeffrey Epstein files that they hadn't publicly put out yet, but we got access to them. And at the end of this video, I'm going to show you how to access them. Here's what that looks like. It's volume 8 of the files, but you can see right now that they've only released 7 data sets. And so myself, the guys at Jmail, and the guys at DropSite, we've been investigating this. I've partnered with them to kind of look at some of these files. And they got access to volume 8 early. You would just type it in the URL. It wasn't like indexable on search, but you could just type in the specific URL and it would just come up. You could download the entire zip file, and that's what we did. We've been looking through it. I want to go over some of it because I believe some of what we've seen directly contradicts the FBI's earlier statement that, oh, there's no evidence or we did not uncover
something. Steve, Facts Still Matter pointed out to me, and I'm gonna advocate for this as well. This is why you support independent journalists. This is why if you're watching people that clearly take like corporate money and have dark donors, can't really trust their journalism. CoffeeZilla, 100% funded by his viewers. Multiple people have tried to pay him to get him to do stories. He won't do it. Same with DropSite News. For all of you MAGA folks that are here, I don't think. Do you have anybody that's not funded by dark money? Who on your side can you trust to tell you the truth today? Who on your side isn't in bed with Donald Trump financially? Probably none. I don't think you guys have independent journalists over there. Do we? Yeah, almost everybody that's an independent, that's not like CNN, MSNBC, they're all independent. I mean, I like Majority Report. They're independent. Kyle Kalinski's independent. Vosh is independent. Destiny is no longer independent. I don't know if I don't know what where their money comes from. Hassan is independent. We did this yesterday. Most of us are, because nobody wants to give you money if you're advocating to break up corporations. Who the fuck's going to give you money for that? No, nobody's Bulwark. I don't know what the Bulwark's situation is. No idea. Most of the people on the left, outside of like mainstream media outlets, are independent. Most on the right are not.
Evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. That's what they told us, right? They said, we've already looked through the files. You don't need to see the files back in July. Of course, all the pressure has made them now start releasing some of this stuff. And we believe that this was slated for release, but remember, they weren't going to release all the files yet. They had to hold some back. Well, we believe that these 11,000 files are part of what they held back, because clearly they aren't out, and clearly they were ready, because a lot of these are redacted. I mean, already you can see we found several files that were, once again, over 100 pages of redacted information. So it was all ready to be released. It's unclear why it wasn't. But let me caveat before we get into the material that this is a breaking story, and as such, I'm sure there's going to be some pieces of information that we are interpreting or trying to interpret live.
I agree, Bob. Break up BlackRock and Vanguard. Your president's not going to do that, though. He's in bed with them.
Because of that, I want to warn you to withhold your judgment on some of this stuff until we get more evidence. I'm sure the president's going to be asked about some of this stuff. I'm sure Todd Blanche, Pam Bondi, they're going to get asked about this because it is extremely damning, I think, what we see in some of this. Specifically, I want to draw your attention immediately to the 10 co-conspirators that are mentioned in some of these emails in 2019. Now, this is just alarming stuff, because prior to this, remember that all we really had was...
This is one we showed, and they got it before the DOJ. That's how incompetent this DOJ is. That's what happens when you bring on a shitty podcaster and a corrupt AG. Lots of incompetence.
Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. That's the only people who have ever faced any charges at all. Ghislaine Maxwell, the only one who actually faced consequences, right? But in 2019, apparently there were 10 co-conspirators. Now, the people who were sending this to and from have been blacked out, but at the bottom we see that this is the Violent Crime Section, Crimes Against Human Trafficking Unit. And we can see that of the 10 co-conspirators, 3 have been located in Florida, served grand jury subpoenas, one in Boston, one in New York.
Mute Bob again. For another 5 minutes for you, Bob. Stay on topic. Stop trying to play party politics right now. Knock it off. It's fucking annoying. Stupid. Clinton did it first. Stay on topic.
City, one in Connecticut were served. 4 out of the 10 are outstanding with attempts having been made. What is a wealthy businessman in Ohio? A lead is being sent to CV, and the remaining 3 are currently out of pocket. This is stunning stuff. Previously, we did not know how many co-conspirators were suspected of, or I'm not aware of anything like that. And additionally, some of the details on this are revealed later, because we see this subject line. It says co-conspirators at the top. And it says, blank does not need to head out. We made contact with blank last night in New York City. Blank last night in New York. Contact was made with blank, blank, and blank. By the way, I love how these potential co-conspirators are people who are being blacked out. Like, why? I thought the whole point of this was you couldn't redact people for personal information reasons or for public embarrassment. You could only redact on the basis of it being a victim. And I'm not sure how these people could possibly be victims here.
Epstein Files Transparency Act prohibits redactions.
That's a good question. It's crazy that, like... We just need to point this out. A woman's the only one who's gone down for this. I mean, I guess Epstein, but all these people, and Ghislaine Maxwell is the only one in prison.
On the basis of embarrassment, reputational harm, or political sensitivity. Has anything been redacted on that basis?
Absolutely, positively not.
But anyways, you can see that it says attempts were made to blank and Brunel. That's Jean-Luc Brunel, the famous who's now dead. Blank is confirmed to live in New York, was away for the holiday weekend. We did not have a good address, but an attempt was made in New York. Attempts are made to Maxwell today. Blank, you get it. Like, it's all the people they suspected this whole time are redacted, of course. And they say, I do not know about Ohio contacting Wexner. Now, that's a reference to Les Wexner, The former CEO of Victoria's Secret, this is huge. We've long suspected that he was, of course, one of the co-conspirators. And obviously, the fact the FBI suspected it isn't a 100% proof confirmation. But clearly, they were serving grand jury subpoenas. I mean, that must be who they're talking about, one wealthy businessman in Ohio, because later it's confirmed.
I just have this prediction as these roll out. Les Wexner is going to be connected to a lot of these modeling agencies, specifically modeling agencies in that recruited out of Romania and trafficked women out of Romania. And when you start, if you Google right now, modeling agencies, Romania, you're going to find some connections to the current Republican Party, including Turning Point USA. But just throwing that out there. We'll see if it winds up being connected
by this whole idea of Ohio contacting Wexner.
There you go,
and
Jen.
you can see at the bottom, this is from the FBI New York. When you get a chance, give me an update on the status of the 10 co-conspirators. This is really bad to know that
look, we can't prove it, but is that, because that's where you kind of have to be if you're still supporting Trump here, right?
Do you know that we went out on? Wait, no, so back for us for a second.
Oh, was it buffering on YouTube?
It like completely went away.
Oh,
but I think it looks like TikTok's back. Let's see.
Everybody in the chat saying it's good now on TikTok. Okay, cool. But is that the claim? If Truth Seeker's still here, is that the claim that you guys are making now, that the FBI lied to hide all of this, but they didn't tell Trump? That's a hard thing to explain. Like, if you were just trying to explain this to somebody who wasn't political, just an outsider, and you said, look, Trump chose Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, and then in July, at the same time Trump was saying not to vote for the discharge petition to release the Epstein files, the FBI came out and said there were no co-conspirators, that there was nobody else that was involved in this. And then while they're lying about that, and Trump is saying don't release the files, now the files are released. We know that they were lying. Are you going to claim that Trump just didn't know, that the fact that he was demanding that you don't release the Epstein files was somehow like it was independent of what they were doing? Those two things weren't related? Is that their claim, Unicorn Rainbow Obama? I know you're in there. Jesus Christ. I mean, look, so what? He's just incompetent? He has no control over the DOJ and the FBI? Why hasn't he fired these people? You've talked to MAGA. They say it's Pam, not Trump. Of course. Yeah, blame the woman. So it's just unrelated that Trump at the same time was saying, don't release the files. I will primary anybody who votes to release the files. Got it.
Knew about since like 6 years ago. You know, it's insane. Even over here, we see that in one of the lawsuits, I believe this is with Maxwell, the government actually wanted to refer to people at trial as co-conspirators of the defendant.
I want to know, Edward, what do you say? Nothing's going to change until so-called journalists, independent or not, are equally critical to all politicians. We are being equally critical to all politicians. There's two politicians that we know of in these files, Bill Clinton and Donald Trump. And we are being equally critical of both of them. Bill Clinton pardoned one of these people. So yeah, we are. I think if I'm guessing, I'm going to guess you're MAGA or MAGA adjacent, and you're trying to play this like fence sitter thing. Why would I be critical of any other politician right now? If any other politician's name shows up in here, we'll be critical of them. But until they do, I'm going to be critical only of the ones that are in the files. That's Clinton and that's Trump. What's really not going to change is until like people think that equal coverage is what we need. We don't need equal coverage. Some people are worse than others. Some people commit more crimes. Donald Trump's the only president to commit and be convicted of felonies. So yeah, he's going to get more coverage. He's the only one that went to court multiple times. He's the only president that was ever indicted multiple times. And 100% of the times that he went to court after he left the office, he lost in court 100% of the time. 3 for 3. You guys, I don't understand. You want like, oh, it's not fair. Or maybe he's a criminal.
Maxwell for the purposes of a rule, and then they say Jeffrey Epstein, and then there are two names listed there who are going to be listed as co-conspirators. Again, who are those people? We were told that the only co-conspirator now is Maxwell, and if you don't believe that, you're crazy, you're a conspiracy theorist. But back in 2020...
Roy, big balls, let me just help you with this. You said if the FBI hid it, why did they find it was too fake to even weaponize in 2020? You don't know if that happened. Now you are creating an alternate reality. You're making a guess with no evidence. But I can help with some of that. The Ghislaine Maxwell trial was still ongoing. And because it was ongoing, you couldn't release this. And once again, you're making this political. We don't even know if Trump did commit a crime here. We're just asking for all of this to be released. You are obsessed with partisanship. And it's just like you just don't want to admit that this is happening. But by the way, the FBI in 2020 was run by Trump. He was the president. So I don't know. I guess, why didn't they release these? And if those people that stay, like most of the FBI stayed in place. We kept the FBI, like a lot of those positions stayed in place through the Biden administration. So the same people that would have been hiding it in 2020 would have been hiding it while Biden was in office too. But stop trying to make it partisan when it's not. You have no evidence that it's partisan. You're just trying to find any way to not admit what's happening in front of you.
This was an idea not just promulgated by wackos, it was promulgated by who? The FBI themselves, the Department of Justice. Look at this. Co-conspirator question transcript. This is from USA NYS. They say, question, when Jeffrey Epstein died, a lot of people asked, who's next? Is the government going to hold people who are accused of helping him recruit these girls? Are they going to hold them accountable? And then the answer is, well,
just so you can see here, maybe this will help. All right. And by the way, if you're in here, just screenshot this shit. Keep this in your back pocket. Anybody who debates. Who was the FBI director in 2020? Christopher Wray. Who was the FBI director through Biden's entire presidency and then got fired by Donald Trump? Christopher Wray. So if you're asking why Biden's FBI didn't release it, you also have to ask why Trump's didn't. It's the same FBI. It's the same guy. Your argument doesn't hold water here. Please, for the love of God and for the love of for the protection of women and for the fact that these women deserve to have this investigated, please drop your party politics for 2 fucking seconds. How the fuck are we this broken?
Well, I'll note that the original charges against Jeffrey Epstein contained a conspiracy charge, and we allege that there were conspirators involved. Jeffrey Epstein couldn't have done what he did without the assistance of others, and I can assure you that our investigation is moving forward.
Yes, they should ask Christopher Wray those questions. That's a great point. Christopher Wray should be called in to testify. We should ask Christopher Wray why these documents didn't come out. Maybe he has an answer, maybe he doesn't. Investigate him too. But you can't say Biden didn't release it when Trump had the same FBI director, and Trump could have released it too. And Trump was the only president that said, I won't release it. It's not like you guys put out a discharge petition and Biden's like, no, I'm not releasing it. I really don't think, I don't think for 1 second that Biden knew any of this. If we're being honest, and that's a guess, and you can disagree with that. I don't think Biden knew any of this. I don't think most of us understood the complexity of what was happening here. I didn't know anything about Lex Wexner. I didn't know. I only knew Alan Dershowitz because he was the lawyer. I knew about Bill Clinton flying on Epstein's plane. I knew about that. I knew about Bill Gates. But when I didn't have any information, what was I supposed to do? I was supposed to accuse Bill Clinton of a crime for flying on a plane. I didn't accuse Trump of a crime when he flew on Epstein's plane. That's all we had. You guys are acting like we should have been able to respond like we're responding now. None of us had this information until now. Anything we were doing before then was guessing, but we now know without a doubt that the FBI was covering this up. We didn't know that before. We know it now. If you thought the FBI was hiding it before, that's great. You were right, but you didn't know that. And whatever you want to say about me and some of these other journalists, like I don't run stuff that like I can't prove. I'm not going to make a claim about somebody that I can't prove. All I knew was a bunch of conspiracy theories from the internet. And I don't really cover conspiracy theories from the internet. If I can't prove it or I don't have like really, really good evidence, I don't cover it.
Except I guess not. Against everyone except for Ghislaine Maxwell, it got killed. Like Ghislaine Maxwell was the only one who faced justice, right? Except then she got moved to Club Fed, to this nice prison, right? And by the way, that a whole interesting interview we saw happen with Todd Blanche, which is Trump's former defense lawyer. So he got grilled on Meet the Press about his relationship. Like, why did Ghislaine Maxwell go to this nicer prison immediately afterwards? And while he declines to comment on it, he says something very interesting.
Why was she moved just days after you interviewed her, Mr. Blanche?
So that's a Bureau of Prisons security issue that I will not talk about.
Did you have...
Why? MAGA, I'm talking to you. Why? Why won't he tell us why they moved her? Can somebody tell me, MAGA? Why won't he tell us about this? Why won't he tell us why she got moved? Right after he interviewed her. Dog shit interview, by the way. Not typical, Freedom Rider. Answer the question. MAGA, I need a real answer for this. Why won't he tell us? Do you know who this man is, MAGA? This was Donald Trump's personal attorney. And he brought him in to do personal attorney stuff. Why not tell us why she got moved?
Anything to do with it? Did you have anything to do with it?
Let me finish. First of all, I am responsible for the Bureau of Prisons. So every decision that they make lands on my desk to the extent it needs to. But just let me talk about the security issue. At the time that I met Miss
No, Patrick, I'm going to mute you if you don't give me a reason. You guys do this every day. We would tell you, but then you wouldn't listen. Well, then leave. You can engage or you can leave or just be quiet.
Maxwell, there was a tremendous amount of scrutiny and publicity towards her, and the institution she was in, she was suffering numerous and...
You want me to tell you my thoughts? If I had to guess, I would guess because just like Donald Trump said forever, he didn't want these files released. He knows what's in the file. Some of the files don't make him look good so far already. He threatened everybody who dared to vote to release it. And this is his personal attorney. And he sent him in to interview Ghislaine. And I think they cut a deal that she wouldn't rat out Trump if she got better treatment. That's my guess. The only way to find out is if he tells us or we investigate him. I don't get to know. And why don't I get to know? And why don't you get to know? Because he said, I don't want to tell you. And you're like, yeah, that's all right. We trust the government. If they tell us we don't need to know, we don't need to know. We just trust them. So I can guess. But for fuck's sakes, why doesn't he just tell us? Who's being protected here?
Numerous threats against her life. So the BOP is not only responsible for putting people in jail and making sure they stay in jail, but also for their safety.
All right, so he's like, yeah, that's crazy. No, I'm not going to talk about that. But every decision...
Good point, Hoodie. She did not just recruit. She also sexually abused children. Yeah. She is a child sex predator who abused children. And Donald Trump and this administration... Well, maybe not Donald Trump. I guess we can... I'll try and be... This administration put her in a low security jail where she gets to play with puppies and she gets to have visitors and she gets to watch movies and she gets good food, and she abused children. You guys gave a convicted P3DO special treatment, and then they won't tell you why, and you're like, that's okay. That's okay. We don't mind. We just trust Donald Trump and we just trust the government.
On my desk. I mean, eventually he goes on to say that, oh, she was in so much danger. We were worried about her safety as a prisoner. I just got to say, there's a lot of concern about Ghislaine Maxwell. All of a sudden, I don't know where that came from. There's not a lot of concern about these conspirators that I guess we've swept under the rug, that we don't care about anymore since 2019. I guess we knew about them and didn't care. And what's even more concerning is our president also seems concerned with the...
No, nobody thinks federal prison is a Sunday walk in the park. She got moved to a better facility where she gets to play with puppies now. She didn't used to have all that stuff. She got an upgrade. Chris, why can't you guys just address what's happening here? You will do anything to not talk about this. It is getting pathetic.
Wrong people. Like, while Todd Blanche is concerned about Ghislaine Maxwell's safety and well-being, you've got Trump concerned about the people who are going to be unfairly implicated in the Jeffrey Epstein files, rather than worrying about how to catch the people that we obviously let go through the cracks.
The victims were protesting that too many of them were redacted.
I know there are a lot of people that are angry about all of the pictures of other people, but I think it's terrible. Look, I like Bill Clinton. I've always gotten along with Bill Clinton. I've been nice to him. He's been nice to me. We've always gotten along. Respect him. I hate to see photos come out of him, but this is what the Democrats mostly...
No, she didn't sing like... Chris, we have the interview, right? You can read the interview. You can read the transcript from her interview. She didn't sing like a canary about who Epstein had shit on. Now you're making shit up because you don't want to address reality. Your existence is a little pathetic right now. It really is. This guy, this dumb motherfucker that you don't know, you will do anything to defend him, including making yourself look like an absolute fucking dipshit. You will trip all over yourself. We have the transcript, right, Chris? It's not what the press says, Chris. It was released by this administration. What the fuck do you think a transcript is? God damn, you're done. Chris, you're too stupid to be here. You got to go somewhere else. You're too dumb to process this information.
Democrats and a couple of bad Republicans are asking for, so they give me their photos of me too. Everybody was friendly with this guy. I think it's a terrible thing. I think Bill Clinton's a big boy. He can handle it, but you probably have pictures being exposed of other people that innocently met Jeffrey Epstein many years ago.
Larry, this is more important than Minnesota. So sorry, bud. There's nothing that happened in Minnesota that's more important than what I've covered today. I'll cover Minnesota when there's stuff that's when the other stuff isn't as important. Might be a while.
I'll be honest, he gets off track from here, but the point he was making is that those poor, innocent, bankers who were meeting with Epstein, the poor lawyers who were meeting with Epstein, like all of Epstein's friends are just caught up in this unfortunate thing. And it's just such a reversal of what previously the DOJ and FBI believed. In fact, they believed it so much that they got a federal search warrant for the SDNY, and they got it. And part of the seizable data, part of the stuff that they commanded them to seize as part of the search warrant, which, by the way, I think you need some kind of standard of evidence for. I'm not a lawyer. You guys can chime in. But you can't just get a search warrant without some kind of evidence that you believe there's a crime that's been committed. And part of it says...
That is a good point. It is important to remember that Trump, trying to do damage control, did release a picture with, what was it? It was Michael Jackson, who was Epstein in there, and then Michael Jackson's kids. That wasn't even in the files. He just tried to look at someone besides me, please. Please look at someone besides me.
Evidence concerning the identity or location...
By the way, Michael Jackson, also a bad person. If Michael Jackson, the fact that Michael Jackson isn't in the files is a little alarming, surprising. I guess he just did it on his own. Michael Jackson also abused kids though, so yeah.
Of co-conspirators of Jeffrey Epstein, including Blank and Ghislaine Maxwell. So again, who is Blank? Well, they keep redacting the names of these co-conspirators, uncharged, remember, and now they're saying we have no evidence to charge anybody. Clearly, they had evidence for a search warrant, and it's just completely ridiculous that some of this stuff is redacted and that we're viewing the rich and powerful people who are mentioned as the victims here. Now, that's all I want to talk about for now. Remember, this is a developing story, so there's, I'm sure, going to be more evidence that comes out. I will try to keep you updated. I'm probably going to cover more of this stuff in the future because there's so much here. But I had to get this out while it was basically not public yet. I mean, I think it's eventually going to be public. When, we don't know. But you can access all of it at jmail.world. I'll leave a link in the description. They have a special, like...
We got people in here defending Michael Jackson. All right, go ahead.
Drive section. The original pitch was it's like email, but you're logged in as Jeffrey Epstein. Now they've made it like the entire Google account, so you can log into his Drive folder and all that kind of stuff. It's fun. It's a great UI, but more importantly, it makes it all very searchable and you can look at it. I think you'll all really enjoy it. I also wanted to give a special shout out to the Drop Site team. And finally, we just uploaded on CoffeeZilla. I don't like to upload the same day on both channels.
All right. Anyways, this is Voidzilla. I highly recommend following both channels. This is Voidzilla, and then he has obviously the CoffeeZilla channel as well. Highly recommend. Great independent journalist, completely funded by his subscribers and his patrons. I think his Patreon as well. If you can support CoffeeZilla, do it. That's a little bit of a depressing day today. It was already depressing enough, like, to hear this, but to watch people actually defend all of these people, and to watch you guys, like, watch MAGA try and talk about anything but this is absolutely fucking crazy. What could possibly be more important than this that we should talk about? I'll say, keep MJ out of this? No. Do you want me to defend Michael Jackson? Jesus. Why are we defending Michael Jackson in here? What are you doing? You haven't heard those kids testify? Yeah, people in this country get away with abusing children all the time. All the fucking time. It's hard to prove because our laws are dog shit. Serial abuse, like Trump's dude that pled guilty to abusing kids. What's he get, like 10 months in prison? Yeah, no, I'm gonna talk shit about Michael Jackson always. If you're a fan of this show and you have a problem with me talking shit about Michael Jackson, that's fine. There's probably a different show for you. I hope that it is not people who regularly watch this show defending Michael Jackson. Jesus Christ. Oh, Lord. All right, let me check messages. That was it for today. The other stuff I had will take too long to go all the way through, and I do need to get out of here. Gonna go hang out with my daughter. Let me jump in, make sure I got everything. Got that. Jen, did I miss anything? Have Jen?
What?
I said, did I miss anything?
I don't think so. And everyone who sent demos after Jake did the announcement. I appreciate all of you. So.
All right. Do you want to sing a Christmas carol before we go?
No, I'd rather not. But I do have a joke.
Go ahead.
All right, all right. Where to go? What did one gingerbread man say to the other when he hurt his leg?
I don't know.
Did you try icing it?
Why is there no emails between Epstein and Trump after 2007? We don't even know if there's emails between Epstein and Trump. You don't know that, Truth Seeker. How could you possibly know that there were no emails between Trump and Epstein after 2007? Do you have his email account? By the way, Trump notoriously doesn't email. I don't know if you know this. There's very few emails of Trump at all. Like, Trump was taught this by Roy Cohn. That's why Trump's on the phone all the time. He doesn't want to leave a record. Michael Cohen talked about this too in his book. Trump is very wary because he's in New York. He was very close with the mob, and he knows that if you're committing crimes, you don't want to put it in a record. And I think that's what a lot of this shows is that Epstein didn't give a fuck. Like, he felt so protected that he could just openly do this. He wasn't really hiding it. Like, he was hosting parties all the time. It was kind of a known thing. He would email about it. They didn't really talk in that much code, but you're just making something up, right? Truth Seeker, do you have any evidence that there were no emails? Do you have any evidence that there were ever emails between Trump and Epstein? No, I don't think you do. Yeah, he posts on True Social 20 hours a day, but he's not out there like admitting to crime. Well, generally, he doesn't admit to crimes. He probably has. Anyways, guys, I appreciate it. I appreciate all your support. Thanks again for those of you donating, knocking out our gift goal today. I didn't make a claim that there was, Truth Seeker, you fucking idiot. Goddamn. If you make a claim and I say, do you have evidence? It's you can't ask me for the evidence to prove you wrong. It's your job as making a claim. It's like me saying, like, you kill puppies on the weekend. And you're like, do you have any evidence? And I'm like, no. Do you have evidence that you don't? How would you prove that? Of course you don't have evidence of that. That's a silly thing. Be better than that. Guys, I'll see you tomorrow morning. Just a reminder, we're on tomorrow, off Thursday. I don't know about Friday yet. I'll let you, it'll probably just be a surprise. I'll put up a notice Friday morning if we're going to go live on Friday. And then we'll be back next week, normal time, 8:30 a.m. to noon Pacific Standard Time, right here, wherever you were watching. To those of you who are off work or at work, I hope that you have an enjoyable holiday season, whatever holiday you celebrate or don't celebrate. Hope you get some time off. If you like your family, I hope you see them. But take care of yourselves. Take care of your mental health. Touch grass if you've got it. Snow if you don't. Stay cute and cool, and have a great summer.